The stream kind of wrote itself today. I didn't have to do a lot of deep diving. I didn't have to go too far down the timeline to figure out, what on this Monday afternoon will we be discussing? Yes, there will be some information about Jim Trotter, formerly now of the NFL Network, and why I think that's very problematic off the heels of what happened earlier today with Lamar Jackson. There's a lot of things there that with Jim Trotter and what he's trying to portray and the tough question that he has asked of Roger Goodell and the reaction to that and what may be the repercussions of him asking those questions, tie that in with what Lamar is trying to do. I think those two things are not a coincidence. If we have time, LeBron is back. LeBron off the foot. LeBron went to the LeBron of feet. Not the LeBron of foot doctors, not the LeBron of podiatrists. He just went to the LeBron of feet. Okay, sure thing. But make sure we are up and we are good here. Yep, good on my end. All right, so Lamar finally spoke. Blue check boys, analysts, pundits, media savants, insiders have all been saying, well, when's Lamar going to speak? Why don't Lamar just tell us what he wants? Why don't Lamar just tell us how much he wants? Well, today, you got part of that. He still ain't going to tell you what he wants in terms of a contract. And I don't think he's owed. I don't think the public, us, blue check boys and girls, anyone that's not trying to cut him a check, I don't think anyone outside of those people who are fiscally responsible for cutting him a check should know that answer. But yet we finally did get Lamar to speak today. And this is why sometimes when your blue check boys and girls jump out here and say, you need an agent. Let me list all the reasons why you need an agent. Well, he was able to coordinate a series of tweets, a thread on the Elon app. He was able to coordinate that with the exact moment that his current coach, Jim Harbaugh, is speaking. Now, did he need an agent to do that? Look how synchronized he was able to do that at the same moment his coach is speaking in front of the media in a scrum. Didn't take an agent to pull that off, huh? Maybe he is capable of doing certain things without an agent. Clearly, himself and whatever representation he has been in negotiations with the Baltimore Ravens because, as he so greatly let us know as we go to the screen, he asked for a trade. And you see it down here at the bottom. Let me get this hooked up for y'all. As of March 2nd, in regards to my future plans, as of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization. So let's stop right there. All these blue check boys and girls have been telling us is that, no one's been able to get to Lamar. He hasn't been able to have any real discussions with the Ravens. There's been a lack of representation. He needs an agent. He had the wherewithal to request a trade earlier this month. That's about 3-4 weeks ago. He had the wherewithal to request a trade because clearly the negotiations weren't heading in the direction that he felt they needed to go. Clearly he was not in line to get the bread that he feels he is owed. So he was able to request a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. So this is as of March 2nd. Okay? March 2nd. I requested a trade from the Ravens organization for which the Ravens have not, should be have, not has. I don't know who's proofreading, but it's okay, have not been interested in meeting my value. My value, okay? Any and everyone that has met me or been around me know I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. This is a goodbye to Baltimore. He is not expecting to come back to Baltimore. Now, there's been this ever since these tweets came down, there's been some, fodder of, well, is he really asking for a trade? I mean, what more do you need to see? As of March 2nd, I requested a trade. This isn't a kinda, coulda, shoulda, woulda. This is clear as day. As of March 2nd, I requested a trade. Now, some are already trying to spin it. Some are already trying to say, well, he doesn't really have the leverage. What leverage does Baltimore have? There's no QBs left on the open market. When are you going to get a quarterback if Lamar truly stands 10 toes down and decides, I'm not playing if I'm not getting the bread that I want, that I covet, that I deserve? Where's the leverage for Baltimore? The franchise tag, which the players foolishly allowed the owners and the NFL to keep in the last CBA, they essentially traded using marijuana for the franchise tag. Okay? Let's be clear. This franchise tag thing shouldn't even really be a thing, but here we are because players wanted to smoke weed. So since they wanted to smoke weed, now they have to deal with situations like this where you have a player who on the open market, if he was free and clear, probably could get the money that he wants. But because of all the hurdles and all the stipulations that come with this archaic thing of a franchise tag, it's going to block him from getting the money that he deserves. And the narrative of him being overpaid. How can you be overpaid? You negotiate what you negotiate. Deshaun Watson was able to get an owner to pay him $230 million guaranteed and structure it in a way that he wouldn't even get hit for being suspended for 12 games. Is that overpaying, or is that finding someone who's going to pay you your worth? Lamar Jackson can and probably would get what he's worth if it wasn't for this system of a franchise tag. But the players wanted to smoke weed, and I understand the medicinal benefits and the rehab benefits and the recovery benefits, but they traded weed. They traded a franchise tag for weed. And now you have Lamar Jackson out here, can't get the money that he deserves, that he's rightfully owed. He gave them an MVP season on a rookie deal. Bottom of the first round. 31st pick. Those don't normally turn out to be MVPs of a league, especially at the quarterback position. But okay. There's going to come a point here where someone's going to blink. As much as, and I've been talking about Lamar on this channel over these last few weeks because of, every day there's something new, there's something being reported, hence Timeline T. But there's been a lot of people coming at me in the comments telling me that, Lamar should just take whatever and just accept what the owners, the Ravens in this case, are offering him. And that he should not want what Deshaun Watson got because, if the Browns were stupid, that doesn't mean the Ravens should be stupid. Well, who is saying it's stupid? The Ravens played Russian roulette with this. Josh Allen got his money. The Bills were not stupid. The Chiefs gave Mahomes his money. They were not stupid. They weren't going to roll the dice. And you could argue there was way more red flags with Josh Allen when he got his money than Lamar right now trying to get his money. Why do people assume that because Deshaun Watson got that bread, that Lamar shouldn't want that bread? These teams have that money. Well, except for the Raiders. They don't have it in escrow. All the other teams have the fiscal responsibility. They have the fiscal capability of paying that type of contract. Yes, it's a hard salary cap. Yes, I cannot deny that. That is a factual thing to bring up. But in regards to can they pay it? Can they afford it? Yes. They've been paying contracts for years and moving the money around. With the revenue that they bring in from the broadcast rights, the revenue, stadiums, billions of dollars. You can't afford $250? That's going to break the bank? That's going to be the contract that does it? What do you think Herbert's going to get? You see the Chargers, and we'll get to it in a second, but the Chargers are already trying to hurry up and get Justin Herbert signed because they know if Lamar gets that money, Justin Herbert's going to want more than that. And they're most likely going to do it. So let's hurry up and get Justin under that Deshaun Watson number. Throw some funny money in there. Because if Lamar is able to find someone to pay him guaranteed money, there will never be another quarterback worth a damn that will ever accept funny money ever again. I mean, it should already be happening because Kirk Cousins got it. Then Deshaun got it. Why can't Lamar get it? Very weird. Very weird. I'm coming to the comments. Let me jump in here. Bring the heats in here early. What's good? Let's see what we got. How does the tag impact the likelihood of LB? Look, well, here's the thing with the tag, right? So if Lamar decides, he could do this two ways. He could decide to sit this out. He holds the leverage. He has more leverage in this than the Ravens. Because let's play this out. Lamar sits, right? Ravens don't have a quarterback. What, they're going to go with Huntley a whole year? And sure, you could do the whole thing. There was a nasty tweet. There was a nasty tweet of CBS Sports that put up all pro Lamar won and Huntley won. Nasty tweet, biased tweet. But in regards to this tag, if Lamar really holds out and says, I am not playing, and it forces the Ravens to either settle with Huntley or go out here in the draft and go pick up somebody, that's gonna really force the measure of, well, what you gonna do? Are you gonna trade him? You can still get multiple picks for him. That doesn't change. No matter what happens, they're going to get multiple picks for him. So the way this goes is he's either going to sit at home and you're going to get nothing, or you can pay him and you can make things right, or you can accept that I refuse to give him whatever money he can get elsewhere and I'm just going to flip him and take whatever I can get for him. If that's the case, then okay. But Lamar, if his money is right, he can sit at home. If his money is right, which I'm assuming to make this type of power play, you don't make this power play if you broke. You don't make this power play if you're stretched thin. He got it. Okay? So Lamar's good. He's not going anywhere. So financially, he's set up. So he has the leverage here. I know it's hard for fans to understand because, you know, they side with ownership so easily, which is beyond me. But in this case, Lamar has more leverage in this than the Ravens. Let's go back to the comments, bring the heat. Yes, it is a very weird scenario. It's such a weird scenario with Lamar Jackson. It really is. It really is. It's something where this is unprecedented. When have you seen a quarterback this young, potentially this good? He's already shown you what he could do with little to no help. He could be a whole ass league MVP with next to no help. If he can do that by himself, imagine if he was to go to a team that actually has weapons. So when have we seen a quarterback this young, this good, that is set for a payday and not get it. That's why you have people throwing conspiracy theories. Because when have you seen our quarterback this young, this good in this league and not get the bag? When? Kirk Cousins didn't get the bag in Washington because he was Kirk Cousins. This ain't that. Very weird. Very weird. Back to the comments. Bring the Heat's on it today because a team needs to agree to an amount to pay him and agree on trade comp. Well, I mean, look, to that point, Russell Wilson garnered 3 first-round picks, and they had to give him a ridiculous extension. Deshaun Watson also was multiple first-round picks, and they had to pay him $230 million. So if those teams can find a way to do it, I don't know why another team couldn't. This is the most important position in the sport. Why is Lamar Jackson playing the most important position in the sport and not getting that type of attention when others who arguably are worse than him? Russell Wilson is not better than Lamar Jackson right now. Yet he was able to garner multiple first-round picks in a trade and go get paid a ridiculous extension with a lot of guaranteed money. So I hear you, but nah, this literally happened last summer. 2 QBs went for multiple first-round picks. You can even go to Matt Stafford, multiple first-round picks. Like this is going to be what it is. This is the cost because it's the most important position in the sport. If a QB this good is available, this is what you're going to have to give up. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, the Jets-Packers drama has kind of died off. Like it's only 2 storylines that are remaining right now. It's Aaron Rodgers allegedly to the Jets, and it's Lamar Jackson to who the hell knows. Those are the only storylines that really matter. The draft is coming up. We'll get ramped up about the draft as we get closer. But right now, the only 2 storylines in the NFL that's worth a damn is the Lamar melodrama and the Aaron Rodgers melodrama. Like, where are these QBs? These are 2 franchise QBs, obviously on opposite ends of their prime, but these are 2 QBs that could conceivably lead a team to a Super Bowl. You can get a Lombardi with either one of these guys, and they're both available. But there's different types of compensation you're going to have to cough up. The Jets are out here moving contracts around. Shaving salaries, cutting guys, trading guys, releasing guys, just to make it happen. Signing guys off a wish list. They're letting it be known we want him. Who's going to do that for Lamar? Bring the heat. Yeah, I would sit and go get paid next year by whatever team I want. Yeah, I mean, look, it's looking like that. Lamar seems to be prepared for that. That's the big joker. I don't know if y'all play spades or not, but that's the big joker. I'm going to sit out. That's the biggest card I got. And that's why that leverage trumps whatever the Ravens could do. Because what can the Ravens do? They have no quarterback. Huntley was fine in spurts. He did okay for what he was. What was it, the 9th alternate for the Pro Bowl? Like, it was fine. But you're telling me you're going to go into a season with him as your starter, your QB1? Just because you don't want to give Lamar the bag? You're going to risk a potential chance. And who knows how long that window is closing on this Ravens squad. They're not the youngest roster in the world. He's been carrying that team on his back the last 2-3 years, even though he's injury prone. When he's in there, he wins more times than not. And if the strength and training staff wasn't greater than F-, maybe he wouldn't be so injury prone. When your own players are telling you the training staff here gets a F-. But yet, everyone wants to talk about how injury prone Lamar is. Talk to Matthew Judon about that training staff. Bring the heat. Jet said they are not going after Lamar Jackson. Do you think that his request has an impact on that trade? Only if the Packers do something stupid. I think the Jets have moved around so much. The Jets have done so much to acquiesce bringing in Aaron Rodgers. If the Packers do something stupid here in terms of compensation demands and the deal is called off, if you're the Jets, you cannot go into next season with Zach Wilson as your starter. You cannot. Now, Woody Johnson, as an owner, he doesn't necessarily fit the mold of an owner that would sign someone who looks and acts like Lamar Jackson. That's the cleanest way I could say it. But desperation for Lombardi could lead Woody Johnson to even look past that and try to navigate, do I really want to do this? Because if you go all in on Aaron Rodgers and that deal falls apart, you cannot go to Zach Wilson. You cannot. Back to the comments. Lombardi Lee, what's up, man? You're new here to the stream. Appreciate you. What team would be the best fit for Lamar? New sub. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Trying to do some different content here. Some real talk. Real talk on this sports channel. No hot takes, no agendas. No, I'm here to spit what I think is the truth, and y'all can spit back to me what y'all truth is, and we could go back and forth. So appreciate you for pulling up and subbing. What team would be the best fit for Lamar? Sadly, I think it's the Falcons. I think the best fit in terms of opportunity, because that division is horrible. That division is basura, right? The Falcons have a chance with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, a plethora of running backs. That stadium, that city, that market, to bring in Lamar in that putrid division, that window, like we just talked about, like the Ravens window is closing. They maybe got like a year or two of this core group anyway. He goes to Atlanta. Arthur Blank stopped being scared with the money. He goes to Atlanta with Drake London, Pitts, and all them running backs in that city on that fast track. That window's about 4 to 5 years. 4 to 5 years, because that division, I mean, the Panthers are going to go out here and go get a rookie QB, so you would assume that's going to take at least 2 to 3 years to develop. The Bucs are out here signing retreads. The Saints are the Aints. Like, that division is wide open for the Falcons if they want it. Yet, off of 4 games, they're choosing Desmond Ridder over Lamar Jackson. Ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't understand what is going on when it comes to the Falcons. And that's the team that I really feel they had the money last year to go get Deshaun Watson. They just got outbid. Browns blew everybody out the water. $230 fully guaranteed, take it or leave it. Deshaun had to go ahead and go to Cleveland, even though he probably wanted to be in Atlanta, especially after we've seen his proclivities. But even despite that, he's like, look, man, 230 is 230. Even though it's Cleveland, it's still 230. You know, am I going to take 180, 190 in Atlanta or 230 fully guaranteed? It's all there right now. Like, no, Cleveland it is. Cleveland it is. So I think Atlanta would have been the best spot in terms of peak. Now, if the Packers play dumb, if the Packers do something stupid, the Jets will be right up there as well. Because again, the weapons. We've never seen Lamar with weapons. Never. Not even at Louisville. Like, no. So I think you put him with Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, great running backs, a team that's ready to win right now. I think that's Jets, Falcons to me. But I would say in terms of longevity-wise, Falcons. If you're trying to, if you're going to choose your window of which window do you want to be in? Do you want to be in the window of the Ravens window where maybe it's a year or two. And that's not even to win a Lombardi, really. It's really just to compete. Or that Jets window with a better roster than Baltimore, with better weapons than Baltimore. Now that's a Lombardi window for 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. But I think ultimately I would go with the Falcons. So appreciate the question, Lombardi Leap. Thank you for pulling up, man. Appreciate you. Let's see. Let's go back here so y'all can read the comments. Bring the heat. They just had the most complete team outside of Green Bay and maybe. Yes. I think the Jets do have as close to a complete team. The only area, and you alluded to it here, is I'm a little concerned about the O-line. I think the O-line is okay. They're not good. I would not consider them good. I would not consider them great. I think the line is just okay. So I think if I had to nitpick on the Jets, that would be, the spot I would look at in terms of the O-line. But I mean, look, this team, if you're really trying to win, right? Let's play this whole fandom thing out. If you're the Baltimore Ravens and you're really trying to sell to your franchise and your fan base, we want to win. How can you justify letting the best QB in your franchise's history, how can you justify letting him go at such a young age? Because of money. Like, I understand the NFL, always has this thing of trying to quelch athletes' demands for money. Like, the NFL has done a fantastic job, and I am by no means pro management, but they have done a fantastic job. It's more the fault of the NFLPA. They have done a fantastic job of keeping players under their thumb, even though this sport generates the most money. They print money. This is what they do. They make the most money out of any of the major sports in this country. Yet and still, they're the ones that are still able to get away without paying fully guaranteed money. I'll keep bringing this point up. Hockey has fully guaranteed contracts and a hard salary cap. They find a way to do it. They don't make probably a tenth of what the NFL makes, but they have found a way, and they got some ridiculous contracts in that sport. Hundreds of millions of dollars guaranteed to dudes you've never heard of. You could walk by them on the street, you wouldn't know who the hell they were. But that dude is the man in Winnipeg. So they found a way to do it. Their union was strong enough to stand, and they can smoke weed too. Hockey's got some of the most lenient drug rules in the whole industry. So they can do drugs, they get fully guaranteed money, and it's a hard salary cap. But in the NFL, they made the players choose between the franchise tag or weed. And we'll never give you fully guaranteed money. That math doesn't math to me. With the billions that they bring in every single year, that math just does not math to me. Let's go back to the comments. You guys are being great in the comments. Appreciate that. Let's keep the conversation going. I'm here talking my talk until we wrap this up. There's no time limit today. I got time. Jets have a lot of guys. O-line came back from injury. Yeah, that's true. Lamar Jackson is very mobile. Then Rodgers, which could carry that. Yeah, and that's the point about Lamar, right? They haven't had the best O-line in Baltimore all these years. They've had good O-lines, but they haven't had no dominant top-of-the-line centers or left tackle, right tackles. Like, they've had, like, Orlando Brown is him, okay? Let's be clear. Orlando Brown was him. But, I talked about Matthew Judon. Go ask Orlando Brown about how they do you in Baltimore. The Ravens have let a lot of good young players go. If you really track, I'm not just talking about Judon. Now we got to throw in Orlando Brown. Like, if we just track that, there's something could be going on there in Baltimore that we're not privy to. But if we start to track the numbers here, the math might start the math, because Imagine you have Orlando Brown, you have Matthew Judon, and you have Lamar Jackson, and that's your core. And they're all gone within a couple of years? What sense does that make? What type of roster construction are you doing there? Where you just saw what Orlando Brown was able to do with the Chiefs. Matthew Judon is a beast. And Lamar is Lamar. And they're all potentially out the door. Somebody got to do something, man. I don't know what's happening there, but something ain't right. Something ain't right in Baltimore. Go back to the comments. Boogie Down EJ, Colts, Pats, Lions, and Niners are the most likely to go after Lamar, in your opinion. I've heard a lot about the Colts. If I'm Lamar and the only place I could go is the Colts or the Pats, I think I stay at the crib. Like, to be honest with you, I don't think I'm leaving the crib to go to Indy or New England, because you're just gonna be a sacrificial lamb unless they give me the Deshaun Watson money. You want me in Indy, $250, fully guaranteed. You want me in New England, $250, guaranteed. That's the only way you're getting me there. I'm not going to go there, play out the franchise tag for $32 million, and then I'm in the same position again next year. I'm not going to go waste a year of my career in Indianapolis or New England. I wouldn't do that if I'm Lamar, to be quite honest with you. I would not. But, you know, there's a lot to make of it. But let's see what else we got here. We got more comments. Lombardi Leap. For real, it's insane the amount of money in the NFL makes, and the fact that they're Yeah. I mean, he's talking that talk. Lombardi Leap's talking that talk right here. Raise the cap and give them the cash for one, the hardest hit in sports. Yeah, and imagine, you could argue, like, there's some hockey fans that will say the hits that we go crazy for in the NFL, that happens nightly in the NHL. And these dudes are gliding on ice. They're basically got blades. They're putting their bodies on knives, and they're gliding across ice, and they're still hitting the hell out of each other nightly. Concussions. They get teeth knocked out with the puck. It's craziness what happens in hockey. Hard salary cap, fully guaranteed money. Take all the drugs you want. Like, I don't understand. Man, it's just weird, man. It's just weird. But there's a lot more here to this story, and I appreciate y'all in the comments. Keep it up. Pause. Let's see. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate that. The algorithm will be algoring. So please, if you could drop a like, that is greatly appreciated. Out of those four teams, I'd leave for the 49ers. They make mediocre QBs look elite. Imagine what they would do for Lamar. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I think last year's 49ers team is going to be what will be better than this year's team. But in terms of talent, yeah, I mean, Lamar and C-Mac in the same backfield with Debo, and they just re-upped Ayuk, Kittle, like that on paper. That offense would be the best offense Lamar could walk into. As much as I think the Atlanta offense has tremendous potential, the 49ers offense is ready right now. They're literally a QB away. I'm low-key surprised Rodgers doesn't want to go there, but maybe the Packers just would never trade him within a conference like that. But, I mean, that's where any QB worth a damn should be trying to go. You give me C-Mac, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, a good offensive line, Shanahan as my play caller, I think a still really good defense. Who wouldn't want to pull up and do that? Who wouldn't want to pull up and be a part of that? Like, that to me is a squad that's ready-made to win. Like, the Jets are for sure a QB away. The 49ers are without a doubt also a QB away. But to the point of trade compensation, right? Let's jump back into the screen, and please keep the comments coming. I'm definitely going to work them in. But this is from, another blue check boy, Chris Mortensen, OG from the 4 Letter Network. If Lamar Jackson was truly on the trade market, he would generate more than two. Let's make sure we get this. I want y'all to see that. Generate more than 2 first-round picks. Look at recent QB trades involving Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. He's only 26. And he's box office. So, that's what we were just talking about. Like the fact that, Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson both gave up multiple first-round picks. You only have to give up 2 for Lamar. Only. And he's 26. He's better than Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. And you don't even have to give up what those teams had to give up. And then here's the part where it gets nasty. Here's the part where it starts to get nasty. All right. A few teams, and this is key, owners included, have discussed Jackson's case. One team was hesitant regarding the number of games and snaps and practices missed. Okay, so that's the narrative that's been humming. It's been humming for a while. He's missed 5 games each of the last 2 seasons, right? So he's missed 10 games the last 2 years. So, so last 2 to 3 years versus money invested. Now, here's the problem with that money invested piece. The money invested was that the Ravens got him for the low off rip. He's been outperforming his contract ever since he got there. Money invested, that's the new team. The new team's going to have to pay for what Lamar was able to do, for the Ravens for the low. But now we look at, also wonder whether his sleep habits, I'm going to let that sit right there. They are now questioning his sleep habits. Also wonder whether his sleep habits and nutrition contribute to his absences. Nobody speaks ill of his character. But let's run it back to sleep habits. Now, this ain't Kyler Murray and COD. This ain't putting in a stipulation in the contract to make sure you stop playing video games and actually look at the playbook or maybe watch some film. They're wondering about his sleep habits. Do they have access to his Apple Watch? Are they tracking his oval ring? What are they doing? How do they know Lamar Jackson's sleep habits? But nobody speaks ill of his character. If you're questioning my sleep habits, that to me ties into my character, because the implication there is that he doesn't get a lot of sleep. Now, why wouldn't Lamar be getting a lot of sleep? That's a lot of innuendo. That's a lot of perception. That's a lot of leading people in a direction to make people think inherently negative things about why someone like Lamar Jackson, who is 26 years old with a lot of money, would have bad sleep habits. That's a real slanderous thing to just throw out there, in my opinion. Y'all let me know if I'm reaching, but to me, talking about the fact that he's missed games, there's nothing he can't argue that, right? He missed those games. He missed 5 games each of the last 2 seasons. Can't debate that. But throwing in this thing about his sleep habits, that's giving me Kyler Murray COD vibes. And that's something that's never been reported. See, again, this is why when I talk about the sports media and what information they decide to put out there and when they decide to put that out there, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. We have never heard not one syllable about Lamar Jackson and his sleep habits. But now that he demanded a trade 3 weeks ago and is able to synchronize it with Harbaugh speaking to the press today, trying to spin it, towing the company line, saying Lamar, he expects Lamar to be his QB1. Now that Lamar has finally put out there and put the real voice, put his real narrative out there for us to digest, now all of a sudden he's got bad sleeping habits. Coincidence? Collusion? I'll let y'all tell me. I'll let y'all tell me. Way weary, pay Lamar. Yeah, pay Lamar. I mean, it's real as simple. Somebody going to. Somebody is going to pay Lamar. Don't worry about it. He gonna get his money. Don't you worry, not 1 second. He is going to get his money. No matter whether he has bad sleeping habits or not, he is going to get his money. Let's see what else we got here. 49ers defense is scary. Yeah, it is. It is. 49ers defense is scary. I just wonder with D'Amico, I just want to see how they look. That's my only concern. I don't think the scheme will change too much. I still just want to see it, though. Bring the heat. If you're going to pay him, you do want him to play. Yeah, I mean, look, I think if the Ravens were to pay him, he would play. I don't think it's a thing of even if the Ravens spun the block and offered him, let's say they try to come under Deshaun Watson money. Let's say they try to be, we'll give you 200 guaranteed. I think Lamar would play. I don't think Lamar is so contingent on, I need to get more than Deshaun, even though the NFLPA, rightfully so, is trying to urge him to, and they should because they're a union. And if they weren't so weak in the last CBA, maybe Lamar is not even in this predicament. But he should be asking for more than Deshaun. That doesn't mean you don't accept less than Deshaun. You just want to make sure you're getting your value. What they offered him prior, allegedly in the 170s, the 180s, to me is below his value. You can't justify to me that he is $50 million worse than Deshaun Watson when he's better than Deshaun Watson. And back to the comments, Lambeau Elite. Didn't the Ravens have like the worst training staff? Yes, let's talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Apparently, I'm the only one. Apparently it's just me and you, Lombardi Elite. I've been screaming to the heavens about this training staff. They got a F- from their own players, so much so that they had to fire the person in charge. That's what happened in Baltimore. And former players, Matthew Judon included, have said, we tried to tell them years ago to fire that guy. He wasn't good at his job. Injuries were being misdiagnosed. Injuries were being rehabbed faster than players were healing, thus leading to re-injuring themselves. It was very problematic. They're lucky they're not getting sued. To be quite honest, and I talked about it here on the stream, there was a lot of former Ravens players and even a couple of current ones who stood out there and said, this training staff is horrible. F-. F-. How you a $1 billion franchise and your employees are telling you, you don't give us fully guaranteed contracts, so you want us to risk our bodies. Cool. But even when we unfortunately get hurt, you haven't employed a staff qualified enough to rehab us to go back out there and risk our bodies again for no guaranteed money. So again, put yourself in Lamar's shoes. You've been hurt each of the last 2 years. Let's just assume, let's just play the game and say those are justified injuries, right? I'm up for a contract extension. I have the worst training staff in the league. But yet you're throwing that I'm injury prone in my face every chance you get. And you're using that to justify why you don't want to pay me. Meanwhile, you're finally listening to us as the players and you're firing the person in charge who is misdiagnosing injuries, allegedly. Players were being rushed back and re-injuring themselves, allegedly. But you don't want to pay me? And you're going to use the whole injury-prone thing against me? You're having to clean the whole damn staff out. There's a lot of stuff that's going on there in Baltimore, man. I think that Baltimore is skating from the perspective of everyone is just, not everyone, because clearly y'all here on this stream are hearing me get my takes off, and a lot of y'all are on the same side as me. And, you know, it's interesting to see how there's such a large gap between pro Lamar and pro Ravens. But the only thing I'm hearing from the pro Ravens people is either A, he's just not that good, which is a lie, or 2, he wants too much money, which again is a lie, and 3, oh, well, you know, he's hurt all the time, which you can give them that point. But the counter to that is, well, do you know about the training staff? Oh, he's injury prone. I don't want to hear about no training staff. If your own team gives him a grade of a F-, how can you ignore that? Because the Ravens aren't even ignoring it because they fired the dude in charge. So how are you telling me that he's injury prone and it's all on him when they literally just got rid of the dude in charge after receiving a F- from its own players? Yeah, I mean, it's just hilarious. It truly is hilarious. Lombardi Leap, that's crazy. They want to blame Lamar for not playing. Yeah, how can you blame him for not playing when they have clearly misdiagnosed injuries have caused players to re-injure themselves from rushing them back? And again, they're employed by the team. These are team doctors, team rehab, team trainers, so on and so forth, team medical staff. Yes, Lamar went and got second and third opinions. Yes. And he decided, I'm not going to play. I'm not even going to show up to the playoff game. I'm good. Y'all didn't hurt me enough. Like, I'm trying to hang on to whatever little leverage I got and get this money. I go out here, run around and tear my knee up, and I'll be like RG3. RG3 against the Seattle in that playoff game. Dunzo. RG3 is not supposed to be an analyst right now. He was supposed to be like on the back half of his career like Joe Flacco. He's supposed to be out here holding the clipboard. But because he came back too early, the team cleared him. He went running around there on that horrible field in Washington and ripped his knee up. Nothing was to say. But, you know, Lamar's injury prone. Show up. You know, it's whatever, man. It's ridiculous. Bring the heat. I feel like the Ravens alienated Lamar Jackson when they traded Hollywood last season, and this season signed Nelson Aguilar. Yeah, look, man. Hey, and go ahead and ask Hollywood. And that's Lamar's boy. We know that. So go ahead and talk to Hollywood. He'll tell you. He's had some subliminals throughout this whole ordeal. So you know him and Lamar are talking. So you know that. It's a lot there, man. It's a lot there. I wish there was more in terms of there was like some actual stuff that we could talk about outside of every day. We just keep getting like pieces. But as I mentioned earlier, the Chargers are trying to go ahead and sneak this in. The Chargers have engaged Justin Herbert about a contract extensions, and discussions are ongoing. Oh, yeah. Hey, Jay Herbo, you better wait to see what happened with Lamar. And you see the little ad lib here. Could Herbert, let me make sure I get this right for you. I want to make sure we all see this. Could Herbert become the first NFL player to sign a contract with a total value? So again, we ain't even talking about guaranteed with Jay Herbo. Total value, that includes funny money, of $500 million. FYI, that's more than Mahomes. Okay, so this is what we're saying. This is what we're talking about. It's okay for Daniel Jones to ask for more money than Patrick Mahomes annually. It's okay for Justin Herbert to potentially sign for a bigger contract in terms of total money, which we know is funny money, but still total money than Patrick Mahomes. But don't you dare give Lamar Jackson more money than Deshaun Watson. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Somebody try to make sense of it. Lombardi Leap, I hate the Commanders for what they did. Yo, that is such a travesty of justice, what they did to RG3. Like, he really supposed to be finishing up the back half of his career right now. He's really supposed to be at that clipboard phase. Like, he's supposed to be on that Luke McCown. He's supposed to be like Nathan Peterman is still bouncing around out here and not RG3. Just because those team doctors in that shoddy field out there in DC, and they threw him out there for a playoff game, and his knee got shredded up. Shredded up like it was like some mozzarella. Just shredded up. Just shredded. Yeah, dog, sleep habits. Boogie down easy. Yeah, sleep habits, dog. Like, yeah, they out here. Sleep habits. Don't get it twisted. We see it. Sleep habits. They are here. They are not playing no games. Sleep habits is real. Sleep habits is real. I think when you see this here with Justin Herbert, and, you know, for those who missed the very first beginning of the stream, I said the Chargers are smart. If I'm the Chargers, I am trying to fast track this deal ASAP because I want to get Jay Herbo under the old style of money. Don't let Lamar go out here and even get 200 fully guaranteed, because then if you have Deshaun Watson at 230 and Lamar at 200, if you're Justin Herbert, you got to fit somewhere in between there, right? You got to ask for that. So if I'm the Chargers, I am trying to throw him. I would offer him $600 million, because we know at the end of the day, it's only going to be about 160 guaranteed. And he's got to hit $1 million incentives to get even half of the total value of the contract. So get him under this old system of contracts now before Lamar finds a sucker. Deshaun Watson found a sucker. Kirk Cousins found a sucker. Lamar can find a sucker. It might be Irsay in Indy. It might be. I mean, after the QBs he's had, wouldn't you roll the dice? Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. We all know what they have in common. They're slow. You get Lamar in there with Taylor. What's left of that O-line, Pittman at wide receiver. He could do some things there. But if I'm the Chargers, I'm on the line with Herbert's people right now. 600 total value. Because if Lamar goes out there, that's the funny part. They fool you with the total value. They would rather give Herbert $600 million in total value because they know, best case scenario, he might see low 200s. But you're only going to have to guarantee maybe $180, maybe. And if he lives up to the promise of the contract, maybe he gets another 100 or so million out of it, maybe. That's still half the contract. That's still half the value. They'd rather do that than to just pay him straight up, no matter what happens, here's $250. Because they're rolling the dice against you. It's better business for them. So I get why they're doing it. I'm only pushing the player perspective of why is it okay that they get to do that? Why as fans are we just accepting it and allowing it? And why are we not pushing when there's other leagues that don't make nowhere near the money that the NFL does, but they're able to give out better contracts with the same hard cap that everyone likes to, oh, you can't do that with this hard cap. Hundreds of millions of dollars are being handed out in the NHL with 1/10 of the broadcast rights and revenue. Back to the comments. Herbert has a no playoff win on record, but no objection will come from the media. And it's ridiculously overpaid. Yeah. No, you won't hear anything. The Chargers will be lauded for it, and Herbert will be cheered for taking a contract that could potentially be under his value. You know, I think you would find a lot of GMs who would take Justin Herbert over Lamar Jackson right now. But you would also find a lot of GMs who would not pay Justin Herbert Deshaun Watson money. And that's the problem. I'm not sure if they would even pay him Kirk Cousins money. Because these annual contracts aren't the same as these total guaranteed contracts. It's a lot of funny money, a lot of roster bonuses, a lot of deferred money. Like these contracts aren't what they are. That's why the Kirk Cousins and then Deshaun Watson contracts were so groundbreaking, because it don't matter, dog. The bread is the bread. No matter what happened, Kirk Cousins got the richest contract in NFL history, and it was fully guaranteed. And there was no hoopla. There was no think pieces. There was no one talking about his sleep habits. There was no one talking about him playing video games. It was none of it. It was just, oh, okay, the Vikings think they have a franchise QB and they signed him to the richest deal ever. When Kirk Cousins wasn't even a top 10 QB. He wasn't even a top QB then when he signed it, and he damn sure not a top 10 QB now, but he's still getting that guaranteed money. But, you know, narratives. Back to the comments, bring the heat. I think some of it is that the owners don't want to see what happened to the wide receiver market, and Kirk Cousins happened to the Q. But here's the thing, bring the heat. It's already done. It's done already. You can't go back and undo that. That's the problem with market value. That's how market value works. When someone in your industry gets paid a certain amount of money, that's now the bar. Doesn't matter if the industry frowns upon it. It doesn't matter. Kevin Garnett got that $100 million contract in the NBA. They had a whole ass lockout over that contract. That's how mad the owners were. Guess what? Role players are getting almost $200 million now. Because why? Because the market value was set. No matter what the owners wanted to do, it didn't matter. Because you know why? They need the players. And only until the players realize that, as much as they can threaten to get replacement players and all that, it will be a trash product. You notice the NBA has never played around with that idea of scab players. NBA don't play that. These players are the best of the best. We're not trying to go out here and go get a bunch of G League dudes and try to sell them off. Unless it's Mac McClung in the dunk contest. But this is what we're talking about. Until the players realize that they need you just as much as you need them, then I think the NFLPA can actually make a dent and get some of this back. But until then, they're always going to get killed in these negotiations. The market value has been established. No matter what the owners could say, no matter what they could talk about, Lamar and now his sleep habits, it don't matter. Kirk Cousins broke the mold. Nobody said anything. He snuck under the radar and got fully guaranteed money. That changed the game. Then Deshaun came and blew it out the water. You could blame the Browns if you want. That's cool. But the fact that the bottom line is that market now, the value has moved. The bar has been raised. Now that's the new bar, whether you like it or not. And if you have someone of a skill set similar or better to Deshaun Watson, hell yeah, they're going to ask for that. This ain't Tom Brady and the Patriots taking discounts every year just to win Super Bowls. This ain't that. This is a 26-year-old QB who puts his body on the line every drop back. I got to get this bread. They putting no help around me. I'm running for my life. I put the team on my back just to get us to be 10-7. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Back to the comments. Lombardi Elite, NFL owners still mad at that Watson. Yeah, they mad. They could be mad. It don't matter. It don't matter. Players should be mad that they traded weed. They traded a franchise tag for weed. Don't matter. Both sides had to negotiate. And if it wasn't going to be Cleveland, it would have been Atlanta. Atlanta was going to do the same exact thing, not to that extent, not to that amount. But they were on the cusp of doing the same thing. They were going to have to give up multiple first-round picks. They were going to have to pay Deshaun Watson a ridiculous bag. Cleveland just blew him out the water. It was going to happen. Somebody was going to have to pay for Deshaun Watson and give up a lot to get him. The franchise tag worked for Washington where they got what they thought was the best of Kirk Cousins. And we looked up the stats last week on this stream. Those stats weren't even that great. I mean, they were good for Kirk Cousins, but like the Vikings paid for a guy that was coming off a 7-9 year. And they gave him the richest contract in the sport. What are we talking about? Lamar shouldn't get that. Lamar hasn't done enough to get that. Kirk Cousins became the highest paid player at his position. Fully guaranteed money. Kirk Cousins. And now we got Daniel Jones out here. He asked for more money than Mahomes. Now he had to settle, but he ended up with Dak Prescott money. And guess what Dak did? He went to Jerry and said, you need to move this money around. Because Daniel Jones should not be making the same money as me every year. It's going to come to a head where players are going to say, you know what? The hell with this funny money and having to restructure and getting these roster bonuses and all of this. No. Pay me the bread and that's it. Defer it down the line. Ken Griffey just got paid today from the Cincinnati Reds. Man, it's 52 years old. He just got paid another $3 million. You could defer it whenever. AI had that trust fund set up with Reebok. It don't matter. Pay that money. Bobby Bonilla Day is a real holiday. It's on calendars. Pay me my money. As long as that check clears every day, dog. Just make sure it's my money. Man, could it be me, dog? Could it be me? But I tell you what, Jay Herbo, y'all better tell Justin Herbert don't sign. Don't sign. They just trying to get you under the old system because they're scared of what Irsay might do. Jim Irsay might do it. He's one of them owners that he's a wild card. He's a wild card owner. I don't think Bob Kraft would do it. I don't think Bob Kraft and the Patriots would do it. But I could see the Colts because they thought they were in win now mode. That's why they went and got Wentz, Phillip Rivers, and Matt Ryan. They thought they were supposed to be winning. You go get Lamar, put him with Jonathan Taylor, out there with Pittman. Okay. Now Lucas Oil might be rocking now. Imagine a statue in a few years of Lamar and Peyton outside that. Oof. Lucas Oil will be a very polarizing place. Oh, yes, bring the heat. Don't forget, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Jalen want his bread. That's the thing. That's the problem with this. That's why if you're the NFLPA, you have to be calling all these quarterbacks. Do not sign right now. We all need to get behind Lamar because if he gets 250, what you think Jalen going to ask for? What you think Burrow going to ask for? Now, Burrow's got a different problem because, Mike Brown, the owner in Cincinnati, is cheap as hell. But Burrow, you've been to a Super Bowl already, almost got to a second one. You got to ask for more money than Lamar and Deshaun Watson, right? I'm Justin Herbert. I'm in that same class. Don't have the playoff history, but I am thought of that ilk. I got to ask for more money than Deshaun and Lamar, right? And if I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm coming off going to a Super Bowl, damn near was the MVP for 3/4 of the season. I got to ask for more money than all of them, right? And then what do you do when Mahomes wants to re-up? That's the big one. What happens when Patrick is just sitting there watching everyone cash out? $230 for Deshaun, $250 for Lamar, $260 for Herbert, $275 for Burrows, $290 for Jalen. What you think Patrick gonna go in there and try to get the Hunt family for? That's why everyone, all the QBs got to stand down. They need to be the biggest, they should all be, putting up #8 on all their Twitter accounts. They should be riding for Lamar more so than anybody else. Because if he get paid, they all getting it. They all getting guaranteed. All of it. Bring the heat. So the Eagles want to extend this contract. I bet they do. Everyone trying to get a QB. Exactly. Everyone trying to get a QB deal done before Lamar. They know what's coming. They absolutely positively know what's coming. Get these guys under these old style deals. Let's flood it, the back end, with funny money. Daniel Jones got, 4 years, 160? You think that's ridiculous? $40 million? Dog, only barely, I think it's like 51% guaranteed. 51% guaranteed. It's funny money. That's the type of contract they want. Justin Herbert, Hurts, Burrows. They want all of them on those types of contracts. Mahomes is on one. $450 million. I think only $150 is guaranteed out of 450. What? Now, there's some pretty easy bonuses to hit to get it to, I think, right below 200. Don't quote me, but I think if you added some of the roster bonus stuff, it gets right close to 200. But it's reported to be 450. Come on, man. It's funny money. All these teams are trying to get all these guys under the old system. Lamar can shake up the market. What Kirk Cousins didn't hit. It didn't register. It didn't signal a shift. Why? I do not know. Someone actually broke records, a historic contract, and no one even blinked until Deshaun Watson a couple years later. And now that Lamar is looking at that same deal, it's World War III. It's crazy. If I'm Jay Herbo, don't do it. Do not do it. So look, clearly I got some other topics, but if y'all want to keep going on just the QB market, we can do that. I can throw everything else out. Because y'all know how I get about Lamar. This was an easy hour. It's an easy hour talking about Lamar and all the potential possibilities there. So if y'all want to keep going in the comments, we could do that. We could talk about the Broncos wowing, asking for, the moon and the stars for Jerry Jeudy. And here's something with that real quick. Patriots get Jerry Jeudy. If you're Lamar, would you entertain the Patriots then? Nelson Aguilar, Jerry Jeudy. I mean, at some point, it's just like, all right, man, like what else do I have? I got nothing else. I got nothing else. Even the Dolphins, did y'all see this? Dolphin players are recruiting Lamar Jackson, and Mans had to delete that tweet. Y'all see this? Dolphin safety Deshaun Elliott is recruiting Lamar Jackson to come to Miami. FYI, the Dolphins just picked up to its 5th-year option. And you see that, Deshaun Elliott, hashtag come to the Dolphins. So, when you know it, it's deleted. Someone got to Mans and told her, Don't play with Tua like that. Don't play with Tua. We literally just picked up that 5th-year option. I mean, low key. I mean, he is from Florida. He is from Florida. That to me would be, you talk about really perfect. Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Mostert, all them running backs, McDaniel's system, Year 2 of the McDaniel system. I mean, is he even... He's the third fastest dude on that team. And that's saying something. If he goes to Miami, he's the third fastest dude on that team. Between Mostert and Tyreek Hill and then Lamar. It's pretty crazy. Jeff Wilson's in there. Like, it's that could be scary hours. Like, you know, this is the stuff that we're talking about. Like, players know how good Lamar is. Owners, front offices, not so much. Because as we talked about earlier, they're out here talking about sleep habits. So we have the Kyler Murray COD thing. They are running that back now with sleep habits. And again, all of this was happening while your man's Harbaugh, I think I said Jim earlier, John Harbaugh, always get that mixed up. John Harbaugh was out here saying, yeah, he expects Lamar Jackson to be his QB1. QB1 in week 1. Meanwhile, you know, Lamar's out here saying goodbye to Baltimore. Saying goodbye to Baltimore. And don't forget, March 2nd, I requested a trade. Some people are asking if that's really a thing or not. You don't need an agent to request a trade. You do not need an agent to do that. You don't need legal representation to go into a front office and inform them either you pay me or you trade me. And that's why you got the title of this live stream. Either you pay me or you trade me. The Ravens, for all intents and purposes, as much as they've been calling his bluff the last few years, as Josh Allen gets a contract, young QBs are aligning themselves to get contracts. They roll the dice with Lamar because, oh, he's a run-first QB, puts his body at risk. We just had a Super Bowl where both QBs, who were running QBs, were playing injured. Mahomes and Jalen Hurts were both injured heading into the goddamn Super Bowl. But it's a problem with Lamar of, oh, he's injury prone. You can't trust running QBs. You literally have had 2 running QBs in the Super Bowl vying for a Lombardi, and that's going to be the future. The future is now the present. The days of the drop back quarterback are over. If you are not mobile, at minimum, you have to be a dual threat. But at minimum, you have to be mobile. If you are not mobile, it's curtains for you. So using the narrative of, well, Lamar, the way he runs, his style, well, one, if you put more talent around him, he wouldn't have to run so much. Check. 2, all quarterbacks that are going to be worth a damn are going to be mobile, if not dual threats. So all these QBs are going to be dual. Josh Allen got hurt. Elbow jammed up. Ruined their playoff chances. But he already got his bag. You think Buffalo's regretting that? Mahomes' high ankle sprain. You think the Chiefs regretted that? Ridiculous. All these quarterbacks are going to play in that way pretty soon. Look at the QBs that's coming in. Even though Stroud doesn't run per se, he's mobile. Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson. Somebody's going to jump out the window and take Anthony Richardson top 10 when he didn't even have a first-round grade coming into last season. Why? Dual threat. Allegedly a combo of Justin Fields and Cam Newton. Will Levis? Cool story, bro. Cool story. Anthony Richardson? Ooh, I like that. Panthers at 1? Would they do it? That's the future of this league, dog. That's the future of this league. That's the NFL. That's where it's going. That's where it has been. And, you know, let me jump into the comments real quick. Let me come off this. Lombardi Elite. Lamar's deal is the domino, and if I'm a QB, I sit out and wait for that to fall. You got plenty of time. Facts. Justin Herbert, don't you dare sign a contract. Don't you dare do it. Jalen Hurts, don't you dare. Joe Burrow, don't you dare. Don't any of these QBs. If I'm DeMaurice Smith, I'm texting all of them. Group chat. New group chat with just DeMaurice Smith and them. Nobody signed. Nobody. We waiting on Lamar. That's it. We waiting to see if Jim Irsay or take the bite. Will Jim Irsay take the bait and do it? We know he good for it. Bring the heat. Dolphins should do it. No disrespect to Tua, but I'd rather have ankle problems over concussion problems. Facts. Facts. I mean, the fact that it was, like 3 weeks after the season and Tua had just gotten cleared out of the protocol? Scary. Scary. And the fact that he had to self-report the last concussion after the NFL fired the guy from the first concussion who was on the sidelines. Yeah, I don't want no concussion issues, dog. I'm good. Yeah, I agree. If I'm the Dolphins, I think in their heart of hearts they would love to have Lamar. But didn't they give up picks? They gave up them picks when they were trying to go get when they were trying to scam and get Brady, right? They gave up, they forfeited those picks. Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, they forfeited those picks. Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure they did. Let's see. Dolphins. I know they forfeited at least one pick. Yep, see, boom, right there, forfeited. They can't even, even if they had, so they would have to wait until after the draft anyway. Now, did they have to forfeit a second-round pick as well? Or just a first? Now, they got their second-round pick. So, yeah. So the Dolphins would have to wait until after the draft. And that's something that's been talked about where a lot of teams allegedly would be more in on Lamar. Like there would be a lot of teams more in on Lamar allegedly, potentially after the draft. Now, here's the big problem for Lamar. If the Colts do this, if the Colts take Richardson, they're out on Lamar. If this happens, I mean, again, this is just, a Tankathon website. So this is not, this isn't Kuiper or whoever else, McShay. This isn't any of that. But if the Colts do this at 4 and take Anthony Richardson, then, yeah, they're out on Lamar. But the Patriots, though, Patriots at 14, they could give up that pick. Knowing Belichick, though, he probably would want to do it after the draft so he doesn't have to give up such a high pick. In his mind, 14 is a high pick. So, yeah, that's the thing you kind of have to look at when you're looking at and Bijan Robinson's going to be such a problem. Bijan Robinson, he's going to be a problem. I know running backs are not held in high regard anymore, but Bijan Robinson is a one of one. Anyway, I think Miami, with tricking off their first and the whole thing with Brady and Brian Flores and tanking or not tanking or whatever, I think they gave up a pick this year and next year. So I don't see how it can happen. But if it's just this year and they have their pick next year, then after the draft, they can offer up the next 2 first-round picks to Baltimore. Bring the heat. Get no first this year. Yeah. So it's going to be. There's a lot of teams who want Lamar. I think we can all agree to that, right? There's a lot of teams that would take Lamar. I think the issue is with everything surrounding it, what it would mean in terms of giving him the bread that he wants, so on and so forth. I think that's what's stopping a lot of people. It's stopping a lot of teams from jumping in there and making it happen. Let's see. What else can we find here? It's been a good stream, man. Thank y'all for pulling up. I appreciate those who are able to pull up and tap in, even if it's for a little bit. Those who've been able to stay on and hang on, I'm here. I'm here. There is stuff happening in the NFL. We're here to talk about it. Oh boy. All Lamar all the time. Patriots owner Robert Kraft was told that Lamar Jackson wanted to sign with the Patriots. According to Meek Mill, Kraft answered him that would be a Bill Belichick decision. All right. Oh, man, it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. I don't know. I mean, if you're Lamar, you just go where the money is, right? Ideally, he wouldn't want to go there, but if that's would Kraft really give him? Kraft is such a revered owner in the league. If he were to jump out there and do it, then there's no turning back. He's one of those owners. Him, Jerry. There's only like 3 or 4 standout owners that have a lot of power. I would probably say it's still just Jerry and Bob Kraft, but there's some others that claim to have some influence. You know, the Giants, you know, the Maras still claim that they, you know, they're linchpins and all of that. Yeah, but I guess you have to do it if you're Lamar. But it would be shocking to me if the Patriots did it. If the Patriots pulled up and gave him guaranteed money, like for real, 200 plus, I would be shocked, because then that's sending a sign to the league like, yeah, get down and lay down. Get down and lay down. It's state prop, and it's good. It's good that Meek's there with Philly. You know, it will be state property. Get down and lay down if he does that. Back to the comments. Bring the heat. Send them Tua and 2 following first. I think that works for both teams. If that's the move after the draft, I mean, imagine what McDaniels could do with Lamar. I mean, from that Shanahan tree, and you saw glimpses of it, and Tua looked like an MVP for like 4 or 5 weeks. Like, yeah, you put Lamar. See, that's the problem. Is like, we all know Lamar would flourish in all these systems because these teams have talent. He's been asked to run a rudimentary offense with little to no talent. Outside of Mark Andrews, what has he had? You know, Dez Bryant at the end, Deshaun Jackson at the end, Sammy Watkins. Like, who has Lamar had? Hollywood Brown was okay, but he was erratic. Are we really sitting here saying Hollywood Brown's the best receiver Lamar's ever had? Is that the best the Ravens have done by Lamar? Is Hollywood Brown? Come on, man. Come on, man. Boogie Down EJ. Patch just picked up Julius. If they get Jerry Jeudy follows Lamar, that would be enticing. Yeah, I mean, I think that's certainly better than anything Baltimore's ever given them. If you do that, if you're the Patriots and you decide, all right, collusion be damned, we're going to go get Lamar. Because, again, Belichick loves getting QBs on value, right? They were able to convince Tom Brady to stupidly take pay cuts every year and renegotiate his salary for the benefit of the team, right? Belichick doesn't have that type of spin anymore. Like, there's no sucker in the locker room that he could just convince to continuously take pay cuts. Not a player that's top tier, right? Guys, you just leave. Belichick gets you for the low, and then he allows you to leave and you want your bag. But we've seen him over these last couple of years kind of go away from what he spent a lot of money. Remember, he had all them tight ends with Jonnu Smith. Who was the other tight end? Jonnu Smith, and there was another tight end they overpaid for. They were trying to do that whole Gronk, Aaron Hernandez thing. They tried to run that back, and it was mid. It was probably worse than mid, to keep it a buck with you. So The Patriots have been going against the Patriot way. This would be the ultimate sign that the Patriot way is dead by going to get Lamar Jackson, unless you believe. Could Belichick convince Lamar, we'll trade for you, but we can't give you your money yet? If you're Lamar, would you take the non-exclusive tag, which is $32.4 million, and do another 1 year prove it, but this time in New England? Would that be enticing? Because it's just hard for me to fathom Belichick and then Kraft signing off on giving Lamar the money that he wants, or at least in the neighborhood of what he wants. Back to the comments, Lombardi Leap. Obviously, I'm a Packers fan. And speaking of QB trades, what's your thoughts on the Rodgers trade and what comp should be? Well, here was the thing, right? Like, I have a good friend of mine who is a host on ESPN Radio, who's also a big Packers fan, Greg Larnard. And he came on here and we was kind of, trying to discuss compensation, and we overshot it crazy. Like, we was talking about maybe 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Like, we were trying to compare it to the compensation, you had with Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson and Stafford and all these QBs that went for multiple first round picks. Like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, but then you got to get at least 2 picks. It's looking like they're not going to get 2 picks, not no 2 first round picks. So that's where it's becoming really interesting to see what the comp is. What the comp should be is that type of comp, like 2 firsts, 2 seconds, or 1 first and a second, stuff like that. But if the Jets are holding firm, which is a really weird position to be in when you're doing everything you want, when you're doing everything you need to try to fit Aaron Rodgers in your cap and bring in his guys, and then you're not going to give up the compensation necessary? Like, that's where it's a little weird for me, because I think if you're the Packers, I would hold firm. Because what's Aaron going to do? Again, we talked about Lamar having leverage because he could just sit at home. Aaron Rodgers could go sit at home too. But at least the Packers got Jordan Love. At least they have an heir apparent. The Ravens got nothing. Like, worse, the Packers are fine either way. I think Mark Murphy would say, you know what? If the deal don't work out and Aaron has to come back, cool. But we all know at some point this deal is going to get done for him to get up out of here. So even if it's one last ride, he could do that. Like, cool. But if not, then he decides to sit at home. I got Jordan Love, and he was going to be my QB1 this year anyway. So I think the leverage, even though it would look like it's in the Jets' favor, I think the leverage is all in the Packers' favor, because they have their QB, they have their heir apparent already. They're not going to be scrambling like the Ravens would be, or like the Jets would be. If this deal doesn't work for the Jets are scrambling. They clearly have shown, whether it's the front office, the organization, even down to the players, they don't have confidence in Zach Wilson. We have not heard such blowback from the Packers when it comes to Jordan Love. The heir apparent is there. So to me, the Packers have all the leverage. I would hold firm. We want a first and a second. If 2 firsts, 2 seconds is too much, okay, a first and a second. But apparently, the Jets are talking them down to like a second and a third. And I find that to be ridiculous if I have Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if he only plays 1 or 2 more years. I'm giving you arguably a top 5, worst case scenario, top 10 QB for a team that's a QB away. And you think I'm going to give that up for a second and a third? Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I'm going to let the Jets go ahead and cut guys, release guys, restructure contracts, clear up that cap space. But if I don't get my picks, you just got that cap space for nothing, bruh. You got all that cap space for nothing. You better go convince Tom Brady to pull up. Something like that. Because, if I don't get my picks, Because again, we talked about this earlier in the week, but I'll pull it back up. Jets and Packers haven't spoken much this week. Green Bay, quote, wants a first round pick in the Rodgers trade, and that's not all they want. And apparently that second round pick that the Jets got for Elijah Moore in the Browns deal has nothing to do with the Packers. So apparently this second round pick isn't even in play. So Lambeau Leap, you tell Lombardi Leap, excuse me. It's just too accustomed to saying Lambeau Leap. Lombardi Leap. So are you okay with that? You just want one pick? Gotta get a first and a second. How do you not get? Yeah, for sure. Jets also built up so much hype. Yeah, you have to. I mean, the Jets have done everything in their power except have a introductory press conference. They might as well just go ahead and have a press conference, hold up the 12 jersey, and just say, yeah, we're just waiting. Namath said it's okay to unretire it only for Aaron Rodgers. Like, yeah, they're all in. But I just can't understand how you have Aaron Rodgers, who at minimum has 2 good years left if he decides to play more than this year. I'm only going to get a second round pick, second and a third. Wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me. Bring the heat. I'd take 2 seconds in a conditional third to a first next season. 2 seconds in a conditional third to a first. If I'm Green Bay, even that, let me see, 2 seconds. The Jets got 2 seconds. I want that 13. If I'm the Packers, I'm like 13 and what? Because we're right here at 16. We're right here at 15, excuse me. They could package this and potentially move up. If they can get 13, package that with 15, they might be able to sneak into the bottom half of the top 10. They could really make an impact with that move. But let's see. The Jets got 2 seconds? Oh, yeah, the Jets got 2 seconds. So you want to give them 42, 43, and then a conditional third to a first next year? I don't know, dogs. I think I'd rather have 13, and I could potentially package that with 15 and move up. I'd rather have that than 2 back-to-back picks in the second round. Even if they don't package it and they just have 13 and 15, that roster needs a lot of help. Lombardi Leap, you tell me, you want 13 and 15 or 42 and 43, knowing you got 45 on the back end. So would you rather have 3 second-round picks this year or an additional first this year? Now, again, the Jets allegedly, this deal that they got in the Elijah Moore trade, allegedly that has nothing to do with the Packers. Now, again, also remember that the Blue Check boys and girls told us when this whole Aaron Rodgers intention to the Jets thing happened and he had the wish list, they said that the Jets told them that they were not going to trade Elijah Moore, only to trade Elijah Moore the next week. So even though that they're telling us again already that Elijah Moore pick from the Browns has nothing to do with the Packers, we know not to be surprised if this deal ends up getting done and that pick is involved, right? Lombardi Leap, I want that 13 and 1 second this year and a condition. Woo! I respect it. 3 picks, 13 and 1 second this year and a conditional next year. I'm not mad at that. You have the leverage. Packers got the leverage. They could start this season right now with Jordan Love and not be worried. The Jets have to have Aaron Rodgers starting. They have to. Zach Wilson's done. And if they fail on this trade and they have to go back to Zach Wilson, heads should roll. I say that right now. Joe Douglas has done a great job rebuilding this roster. It is talent laden, but he still hasn't nailed the most important position on the field. That's going to be a problem if they can't get Aaron Rodgers. If they trick this off, if the Jets find a way to trick this off, it's going to be a problem. So if I'm them, I would look at that. So, okay, so Lombardi Leap, he wants 13, and he wants one of these. So he probably I would assume you want the higher of the second round pick. You want the 42nd. And then you would still have, the 45th? Yeah. So then you walk away with 2 firsts and 2 seconds. And if it's up to Lombardi, you even get an extra pick next year. That's the type of compensation I would have assumed. A first and a second this year. Minimum. Now, if you could squeeze something out of them next year, that's bonus to me. That's icing on that cake. But you want to make sure you get at least a first and a second, in my opinion. What do we think of this whole DeAndre Hopkins thing? As the Patriots are really in flux here, like the Patriots are really trying to figure out what the hell to do with their future. Because this DeAndre Hopkins thing is not going away. Somebody is going to make a deal for DeAndre Hopkins. Somebody's going to give up a first and a second. Although, if the Packers can't get a first for Aaron Rodgers, why should the Cardinals get a first for DeAndre Hopkins? That's something I'm trying to figure out. Because there's a, let me see here. I'll just make sure this is frozen. Don't want to get no copyright. The Cardinals have reportedly been asking for a second-round pick and more for DeAndre Hopkins. Something like a, quote, Christian McCaffrey package. Now, as you see here, Hopkins has 2 years and $34 million left on his contract. The Patriots have been whispered. If I'm the Jets, that would be a move. Especially if they trick this off with Aaron Rodgers, I go get DeAndre Hopkins. And I tell Zach Wilson, yo, dogs, you got Garrett Wilson and DeAndre Hopkins, and your backfield is filled with elite running backs. If you can't at least be 62% completion percentage, if you can't give us Washington football team Kirk Cousins numbers, then this is your last year in the NFL. If I give you Nook, Garrett Wilson, and great running backs with a solid O-line, and you still can't get it done, no, it's over. You are Josh Rosen. If you can't get this done, you're Josh Rosen. And that's why the Jets have put themselves in a win-now position. If they fail to get Aaron Rodgers, they're in the win now. They can't do anything else. You really can't justify anything else. It's Aaron Rodgers or bust. Or go get Lamar. But we know how that is. We know how Woody Johnson and the Johnson & Johnson family give it up. I don't know if they're going to go get Lamar. So that is a thing. Y'all let me know if that's something that requires our attention. Is that DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinals want a second rounder. We talked about Jerry Jeudy and how that's going to be looking like more like a draft day. It's likely that the Broncos will trade Jerry Jeudy closer to the draft than right now if they don't lower their high asking price. The Patriots and Browns are considered to be the most interested in acquiring a receiver. And did you see the thing about Odell? Odell and the Giants, allegedly the Giants are not all the way out on Odell Beckham. Make that of it what you will. I don't think that amounts to too much, but, it is what it is. So, after about an hour and 40 minutes, I think we can slide slightly off Lamar, but I'm here for whatever. Are you up to speed on this Jim Trotter story? If we don't have to stick too long on this, but I just think it's something that's kind of noteworthy. Jim Trotter, some personal news. This will be my final week with the NFL Media Group. I was informed over the weekend that my contract is not being renewed. I thank NFL Network and NFL.com for the lessons learned. Again, words matter here. As a journalism degree holder, words matter for the lessons learned. He chose his words very carefully and affirmed over the last 5 years. You might be thinking, well, Sam, how is that a subject for your live stream? Well, I like to look at things from a different lens. Jim Trotter, just a couple of months, maybe 6 weeks ago, the NFL says its commitment to diversity extends beyond the sideline and front office, but the numbers in the newsroom at the league-owned media group, the same league-owned media group that he was just told he's not going to have his contract renewed, says otherwise. So I asked NFL Commish, which is Roger Goodell, about it. This is the second year in a row that Jim Trotter has openly pressed Roger Goodell in front of, the national media. And I use press loosely. He basically wanted to have the commissioner comment on the diversity or lack thereof in the NFL media office. And if you listen to the clip, and I won't waste your time and play it here and get a potential copyright strike, but it was basically a lot of word salad from Roger Goodell. And here's the problem. He asked the commish, how come there's a lack of diversity in the NFL and the league-owned media group, and then 6 weeks later, his contract for that same NFL media group was not renewed. Coincidence? Y'all tell me. And as you see here, in 2 straight pre-Super Bowl press conferences, NFL Network reporter Jim Trotter asked Commissioner Roger Goodell about diversity issues in the newsroom. Over the weekend, Jim Trotter learned his contract with NFL Network will not be renewed. Again, make of that what you will. Sometimes they say things that you just have to listen to them and watch their moves. Watch their moves. We talked about Jalen Hurts earlier, right? Howie Roseman on Jalen Hurts. It's a priority for us to extend him. I bet it is. Lamar asked for that trade. Jim Irsay allegedly is lurking. Bob Kraft allegedly is lurking. I bet you want to get Jalen Hurts extended. Pause. I bet you do. I bet you do. Game changer. I cannot wait for whatever happens, but it will be a game changer. All right, so there is a slight update to I don't know if Lombardi Leap is still in here. The Jets have had productive conversations and trade talks for Aaron Rodgers. This is via Joe Douglas. Jets general manager Joe Douglas says he's, quote, optimistic about a trade for Aaron Rodgers, but the team is not in a hurry to make it happen. There's been some productive conversations. Obviously, we're not where we need to be yet, but we feel like we're in a good place. Here's the thing about it, right? Didn't they tell us and them as in the media, us as in us, didn't they tell us that the deal was done and we were just waiting on Aaron to decide if he wants to be a Jet or not? When he was in darkness retreat, that's what they told us, right? I'm not making that up. They told us that the compensation, the framework of the deal was essentially done. They're just waiting to see if Aaron actually wants to go through with it or not. And Aaron comes out from the darkness retreat and says, yeah, I want to do it. And now it's been, oh, well, we're not in a rush to make it happen. Now, is that a switch up or was that just bad tea? Was that English breakfast Earl Grey tea off rip? Let's see. We do a couple more stories. We'll take this to the top of the hour. Give y'all strong 2 hours today. By far the longest timeline T. But I knew when the Lamar stuff came down, I said, oh, well, there's the stream today. That's all the stream gonna be about today. I won't touch on LeBron. That's just whatever, because, you know, if you know, you know. Let me see. Has Lamar tweeted anything? Lamar has not tweeted, so we're chill there. Peruse these streets for a little bit. Peruse these timeline streets a little bit. Appreciate all the comments, man. I really do. That the comments take this stream to the next level, because it allows me to engage with y'all and to interact with y'all. And that's something I'm always been wanting to have a platform to be able to do. So let's head to the comments. Sharon pulling up. I hope Lamar goes to San Francisco 49ers. They're ready to win the Super Bowl now. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they should be trying to get Lamar Jackson. I agree with you 1,000%. Yeah. That team is ready-made. We talked about it not that long ago, earlier in the stream. I mean, you could have Lamar Jackson throwing to Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and handing off to Christian McCaffrey. Who's beating them? And that 49er defense, we would assume, will still be, if not top tier, still playing at a high level without DeMeco Ryans. Like, yeah, the 49ers are here. Like, I don't think there's anyone that's doubting that. But what's the 49ers draft situation? Let's see. Do they have multiple picks? Wow, they don't have a first-round pick this year? 49ers do not have a pick. Where'd that pick go? Oh, no, there it is. 49ers. Okay. Interesting. So they gave up that pick to the Saints. So the 49ers don't have a first-round pick. And it appears they don't have a second-round pick either. All right. Well, I know they gave up a lot for McCaffrey, but damn. Yeah, they don't have nothing. They don't have no draft capital. I thought they gave up but that's rough. I don't see it happening. Unfortunately, I think that would be, you know, I was asked earlier about what's the best team for Lamar to go to, and I said, you know, Atlanta, because of the young talent being around the same age as Lamar, so that window would be extended in terms of their primes. Then we talked about the Jets because of the way that they're ready to win right now. They got like a good 1 to, I could be generous to say 3 years, or more like 2 years, 1 to 2 year window. But then in terms of just pure talent, it's the 49ers. Unfortunately, that McCaffrey trade gutted them in assets they would need to be able to go get Lamar Jackson. But yes, I agree with you, Sharon, that if Lamar went there, NFC would be, I wouldn't say it would be over, because you got to see how Lamar is health-wise, him with Shanahan, how does it work, all of that. But yeah, I would think that would be a phenomenal pairing. Phenomenal pairing. Let's see. Seeing if we can unearth some tea here last minute before we wrap up. And I appreciate everyone who's been able to pull up. I do this Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, till whenever. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's more. But, you know, I knew today was going to be one of them days. But we'll wrap up in the comments. Boogie down. If A-Rod goes to the Jets, does that make the Jets the best in the division? I still think they would be third behind the Dolphins and Bills. Okay, let's see. Are they third? Well, don't they have the best quarterback? And isn't the old adage, if I got the best quarterback, I should win? I think the Jets would have. Would the Jets have more talent than the Bills on paper? The Dolphins would have a better offense on paper than the Jets, but would the Jets have a better? Well, Garrett Wilson's not Stephon Diggs. No, the Bills would. You know what? That they might be third. I think just the Aaron Rodgers factor can kind of trump some of the lackings they would have in matchups against Buffalo and Miami, though. He's the best quarterback of those three, right? That's facts. However, we don't know how much better Garrett Wilson will be with an Aaron Rodgers. Garrett Wilson might end up being a Stephon Diggs or a Tyreek Hill. Like, he was putting up those numbers. All right, you see, y'all love to get me back in here. I was gonna. All right, let's keep going. Let's go ahead, because like he was putting up top flight receiver numbers with Zach Wilson and what was the kid, Mike White, and even Flacco. Like, Garrett Wilson was putting up ridiculous production with that group. If you put him with Aaron, now that's like those numbers have to get better, right? Like, they were 7-10. Let's see. All right, let's go to the screen share. Garrett Wilson. There we go. Garrett Wilson. I mean, dog. Like, do we see this? Do we see this? That was with Flacco, Zach Wilson, and Mike White. You give him Aaron Rodgers. He had 147 targets. And as you see, he didn't even start. $147 targets, dog. 83 receptions, over 1,100 yards. 13 yards a clip. Only 4 touchdowns. You know that would go with Rodgers. So I think that's where it's like, you give Aaron Rodgers a top flight talent like this, I don't know if they're third. On paper right now, yes, they're third, because I think Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill and maybe even Waddle right now are safer than Garrett Wilson. But if Garrett Wilson could do this with the QBs he had last year, and now you're giving him Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, dog. I don't know if they're third. I don't know if they're third. I wouldn't be so quick to call them third. I would have to see it fail to believe it. Because again, Josh Allen, they don't have a second receiver. You know, they let go of Isaiah McKenzie. Gabe Davis, I'm not that sold on Gabe Davis being a number 2. Maybe they do something in the draft. But, like, I'm not. Stephon Diggs is him. He's still top tier, but it's really just, can you force Josh Allen? Can you force him to stay in the pocket? And can you allow him to keep throwing the ball long enough that he becomes erratic Josh Allen? That, to me, I wouldn't put that. Now you're getting Von Miller, you know, off of an injury. He's not young anymore. Like, there's a lot of question marks with Buffalo. Miami's the one where if Tua could stay healthy and not be concussed, that offense was putting up numbers. Now, later in the year, they weren't putting up numbers, and I don't know if that had more to do with weather or the fact that, you know, they had Teddy B out there for a little bit. Like, they had a whole bunch of, you know, the whole thing with Tua and the concussions. There were a lot of factors into stopping them, but Jets with Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, they get Brees back, Michael Carter, like, they got some weapons, dog. Alan Lazard as your number 2 is really good. So you got Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Brees, Michael Carter. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Boogie down. The Lions are also a team that has young talent and was only a QB away. Yeah, offensively. Defensively, they still have a ways to go. But yeah, offensively, look, man, you got St. Brown and Jamison Williams. And then they traded for no, they got rid of Hawkinson, right? I think they had a decent young tight end behind them though. That's kind of expedited that. They lose Jamal Williams. But they still got Swift, right? They still got Swift. Yeah. I would like to see what they do in the draft this year. They've been very good in the draft the last couple of years. So if they keep that trend up, what picks they got? Damn. I know it would be a reach. I know. But hear me out. They just lost Jamal Williams, right? I know 6 is hella high for a running back. Bijan Robinson. I can't justify them doing it. I'm just saying. I mean, them taking Jalen Carter, I don't know if that's, I mean, he'll help. I mean, if he can, keep whatever's off the field. I don't know, man. I think now they're definitely still a QB away, clearly, but I think losing Jamal Williams is kind of a big deal. So how do you replace that? Do they have multiple picks? Oh, they got multiple picks. Oh, at 18. 18. If they don't do it at 18, hell with a DB. 18, I'm taking Bijan. If I'm the Lions, you do whatever you got to do at 6. At 18, I'm taking Bijan to replace Jamal Williams. That's just me. But Swift, to me, is not that dynamic in terms of 3 downs. He's not a 3-down back. He thinks he is, and he can run hard like he is at times. But I think Bijan is a more sturdier version of what Swift could do. I think Bijan could do a lot of what Swift can do, in just a sturdier frame build. So I think the Lions they're for sure still a QB away. I mean, they got multiple first-round picks. Do they hit up Baltimore? I don't think they do. They got a second. Oh, they got them taking Hendon Hooker in the second round. Oh, they got 2 seconds. Yo, the Lions got a lot of picks. 2 firsts to 2 seconds. I mean, that Stafford trade is paying off. Interesting. Lions might be a shrewd, look, even if they take what they say here, right? They take Jalen Carter at 6. I don't know. Obviously he looks the part. He has the acumen. He has the resume. I just don't know how much of a game changer he could be on the line like that. I love interior pressure. I'm all about, controlling the trenches. So he looks the part. He fits the part. I just don't know if he's that at 6. I mean, when the Bears had the pick and they were allegedly thinking about holding on to it, that's when you heard a lot of conversation about the Bears possibly taking Jalen Carter there. But I was like, I definitely do not see him as a number 1 overall pick. But thankfully, they were able to alleviate themselves of having that pressure. But the Lions, low key. So you take whoever at 6, take best player available at 6, but at 18, I'm taking Bijan. That's just me though. Let's go back to the comments. I like that y'all are also interacting with each other like that. I'll jump in here with Bring the Heat. Finns have health issues at QB, and the Bills have done nothing to get better. They really need to get D-Hop. Yeah, they definitely need a second receiver. I don't know if it's D Hop. I mean, why not Odell? Why not Odell? Odell and Diggs could be a problem. I don't know if if I'm the Bills, if I would want to give up what I would have to give up to get D Hop. Because to be quite honest, I don't really like that roster. I think their window, I think they only got like one more year, maybe two max with this window, with the players that they have, especially on defense, more so than offense. And then at some point, Diggs ain't getting any younger. Like, I think that window is another 1 to 2 years. So I don't know if I would give up the draft capital if I'm the Bills. I don't know if I give up the draft capital to go get D Hop, but I would roll the dice on Odell for sure. Joshua pulling up. Houston or Indy should be the first trade targets for the Ravens. Have a good team, but if we get a top pick, they could go get a lot of mileage for Baltimore. Well, why would Houston do it? Indy for sure. And I appreciate the comment. I for sure see Indy, and we've been talking about, Jim Irsay, is he going to be the owner? There's going to be an owner who is going to be willing to give Lamar what he wants. Just like there was an owner last year to give Deshaun Watson what he wants, just like there was an owner to give Kirk Cousins what he wants, there's going to be an owner willing to give Lamar Jackson what he wants. Is that owner Jim Irsay? Houston, though, I don't see that. I think with what they've endured with the tanking and the whole thing with Lovey and bringing in D'Amico, I don't think they would give D'Amico that. I think the competitor in him would want it. I don't think Coach Ryan would want it. Boogie Down EJ. Watch Allen fall off a cliff when Diggs signs elsewhere. I mean, if you really want to go there, there's a clear line of improvement from when Stephon Diggs got the Buffalo than prior. And as much as people have been bullied into apologizing for saying Josh Allen was trash or he was mid or he was looking like a bust, that was the path. And then the Bills did right by him by going and getting him a top flight receiver in his prime. I wish a certain team that has a propensity for crab cakes would do the same. And maybe they wouldn't be in this situation right now. That's kind of where this all goes. All these young QBs have been given talent. Justin Herbert, he's got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and he had Austin Eckler. Jalen Hurts, he had A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. Like, he was given talent. Goddard, he was given talent. Joe Burrows, Jamar Chase. Mixon had P. Ryan. He's given talent. All them T. Higgins, he was given all them weapons. Josh Allen was struggling. He was looking like mid. They went and got him Stephon Diggs. That's how that's supposed to work. If your young QB is struggling or your young QB is not taking the leaps that you need him to take, then you go get him help. Or even if he is taking steps to really supersize it and make him go Super Saiyan, you go get him help. The Ravens' help has been the likes of Sammy Watkins, Dez Bryant, Deshaun Jackson. But yet Lamar should take less than Deshaun Watson. He took those teams to the playoffs multiple times. He took those teams to multiple 10-win seasons. He won an MVP with that talent. But he should take less than Deshaun Watson. He has the same amount of playoff wins as Deshaun Watson and Kirk Cousins. Those two got fully guaranteed money, but Lamar Jackson shouldn't want nor get guaranteed money. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. Maybe one day, but as of right now, I do not understand it. I'll wrap it up with Q&A. Nothing else has been breaking here. I'll give y'all a couple of minutes if y'all want to do some rapid fire Q&A before we wrap it up. Again, I appreciate y'all for pulling up and being here. 2 hours in, some light. I knew today would be one of them ones with Lamar, but I didn't think it would be 2 hours long. But I'm here for it. I enjoy it. I love talking sports. I love interacting, having debates, sensible debates, not that hot take nonsense that's on the 4-letter network. Having real conversations with real people, having dialogue, agreeing to disagreeing if it gets there, but just having conversation, throwing stuff back and forth. So if you appreciate this content, if you haven't subscribed, I would implore you to subscribe because this is the type of content I'm here to push out. So I'll give y'all a couple minutes if you want to do some Q&A. If not, then we will wrap it up. But this has been a really successful show today. Really enjoyed it. Love the comment section. That's going to be the lifeblood of this stream. I could sit here all day and just keep pulling up tea. But if I don't have y'all to give me feedback on the tea, then I'm just talking to whoever. So whether you're watching this live or on the replay, hit the comment section. Let me know. One, should Lamar accept whatever the Ravens give them? Should Lamar accept whatever deal the Ravens try to spin the block on if it comes to that? And two, if Lamar really wants to leave, what team should Lamar go to? So, let me know. Boogie Down got some. Let me see. There seems to be a double standard with the QB like Lamar Jackson and someone like Herbert. When Lamar was 0-2 in the playoffs, everyone made a big deal. Herbert has 0 playoff wins, and the media blames everyone but him. Yep, they blame his coach. They blame the health of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. But yeah, this is real though. Like, let's see. Justin Herbert. So again, you look at these numbers are really good, especially two seasons ago. 38 touchdowns to 15 picks, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Even last year, a bit of a drop off, but you see the completion percentage gets better every year. But what they don't tell you is that it's a lot of checkdowns, dog. He's thrown a lot of passes to Eckler out the backfield. Now that will change next year. So we'll keep an eye on that completion percentage. If he keeps up that high completion percentage, then we'll navigate that. But it was definitely a lot of checkdowns to Austin Eckler. And again, you're asking where's his playoff stats? And here's the problem. Where is it? Well, I want to come. There it is. Okay. One game. Lamar has a win. Lamar has played well. He has played well in some of those playoff losses as well. It's not like he only played well in that one win that they got. He played well in, I believe, one of the other games and they lost. So it's a bad playoff record just from the optics of it, but it's not like he's played bad in every single one of their losses. So there's stuff to be taken from here. But yes, Justin Herbert, there's always a thing there. There's any of these QBs, like, if we're looking at who's next up, is Herbert, is Burrow, Josh Allen already got his money. You're looking at Hurts. Those are the big three, right? Burrow, Herbert, Hurts. Those are the next three QBs that are up. Oh, I guess Trevor Lawrence too. Trevor Lawrence. What money does Trevor Lawrence want? That's the thing. That's why if you're D. Morris Smith, you got to have all these QBs in the group chat and tell them, y'all don't sign a thing until we figure out what's going to happen with Lamar. If Lamar gets a little pow-pow and has to go back to the Ravens and just take that 32.4, or he decides to just sit it out, then all right, you take your medicine then, and if you want to sign the funny money contracts, then you do that. But if Lamar goes out here and finds, if Jim Irsay takes the bait and coughs up the bread, we all eating. We all eating guaranteed money. And Lamar should get like a little commission off all their contracts. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence will be up in a few seasons. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's going to be, that's why it's so important what happens with Lamar. If Lamar gets his money, if Lamar is able to get his money, all these guys are going to follow suit. And there's nothing that the owners, that's the thing. The owners are trying to protect the whole point of having a salary cap, right? And I know I said I'll wrap up, but I just want to get into this real quick. The whole point of having a salary cap is the point of the owners are trying to protect themselves from themselves. Like, you see what happens in baseball where the salary, there's a soft cap, but these payrolls are astronomical, $300 million payrolls, $200 million payrolls. And it's light. If you got it to spend, you can spend it. And teams used to try to be cheap, and they had to put a floor, a floor to the cap to force teams to pay, because that's what this is. This is a business. You have to force these owners to pay. And when you get competitive and you think you have a team and you want to get the cachet of being the owner of a champion, you be able to take advantage of that. But a cap limits that. A cap basically stops owners from having to outbid themselves. And that's why, to me, it's ridiculous to ever be capped at your money. If you have the earning power, like, this isn't football, but, oh no, let's keep it football. You really think Patrick Mahomes should only be getting paid 150 to 200 million? Think about it. Think about the resume he has at this point in his career. Do you really feel that Patrick Mahomes should only, and yes, I'm saying only, should only earn $200 million from all these? 5-time Pro Bowl, 2-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, multiple times. All of that, 5,000 yards, almost already at 25,000 yards already, almost 200 touchdowns already. The numbers that he's put up. I mean, the first year he was a starter, he threw for 50 touchdowns. That was on a rookie deal. That was much like Lamar was able to give the Ravens an MVP season on the rookie year. Mahomes threw for 50 touchdowns on a rookie deal. His first year as a starter. Do you really think he's getting paid appropriately? Daniel Jones is in his tax bracket. Do you think that's fair? Do you think there should ever be a salary system set up where Patrick Mahomes and Daniel Jones could be in the same tax bracket? I don't think there should be. No tax bracket should exist where those two, and I'm trying to find the contract numbers, but Football Reference is rough with the contract numbers. I might have to go to Sports Track. But let me see, will they show it here? There should never be a scenario where those two are in the same tax bracket. I just don't think it should. I just don't think it should exist. How is Patrick Mahomes only making, in full guarantees, 200? Even if, let's say it's 200 million. He signed for 450. Let's say it's 200 guaranteed. Do you think that's enough? You got in 2 Super Bowls already. You got one on the rookie deal. Now you're getting another one on the funny money extension. Is that justifiable? If he went in there and really held the Hunt family hostage and said, I want, take this 450 and let's make that 300 guaranteed. Could you really justifiably, if you're the Hunt family, say no? Let me know. I don't see how they could. I don't see how they could. Because that's the problem to me. Like, that's where the problem with the thing of a cap. That's where it's problematic. All right, here's a sports track. Good Lord, that took way too long. No, we are not subscribing to your newsletter. Okay. So you see the contract here for Mahomes. Again, look at the base salary here. He doesn't earn $10 million. See, this is why everyone gets crazy of, oh, how would they structure Lamar's money? Look at how this money is structured. His base salary is $2.5 million next year. $2.5 million. It's all the roster bonus. They can move this money around. So when you have the media telling you how it's going to be difficult for Lamar to find whatever, it's like, well, look how they move the money around. $2.5 million? That's below the minimum, ain't it? But then you get the roster bonus. You get a little workout bonus. And look at the restructure already. They've already restructured this contract. There's a lot of funny money in this contract. Guaranteed at signing, $63 million. Contract terms, 10 years, $450 million. Clearly that means $45 million a year, but total guaranteed. Here's the problem, and here's what I've been insinuating to y'all. Get that off the screen. $141 million. This contract says 10 years. Oh, can y'all see that? No, y'all can't see that. Hang on. Let me make sure y'all can see that, because I want y'all to see that. Out of anything on this, I want y'all to be able to see that. Don't mind me, just moving some stuff over. Okay. This contract says 10 years, $450 million. Okay? 10 years, $450 million. Total guaranteed, $141 million. Y'all want to do that math for me? That's $311 million of funny money. 63 at signing. 141 guaranteed. So another 70 or so, another 80 or so after signing, guaranteed. Now, because he's him, he's going to knock down a lot of these incentives and get a decent, he won't get 450, but he'll probably clear 200 to 250 of this. But the fact is, this contract was announced as 10 years, $450 million, when if he would have had a catastrophic injury, he would have only been guaranteed 140 of that. And the problem is that he has to keep performing at the level that he's performing at, where he is by far the best quarterback in the sport. He's going to have to stay at that high of a level to get the bulk of this contract, because he's only guaranteed $140 million. I mean, what are we doing? How can you cap someone who is this good at what they do? How can you cap someone who is this good? You know how good Mahomes is? Like, the baton has been passed already. It's his for the next Minimum 3 to 5. Minimum. It's his. But in 3 to 5, he's still going to be working on this contract where there's a lot of funny money, and he's going to have to perform at the highest level possible. His peak is going to have to be another 10-year clip to get all that money. Sign for 450, announce 450, only 140 guaranteed. I don't know, man. Couldn't be me. Like, I get it. I get why you do it, right? I get why you do it. 10 years, 450, total guarantee 141. Y'all explain it to me. Joshua back in the comments. What's up, Josh? Let's see. ESPN, I call them the four-letter network, but we'll let that slide. ESPN has been known to produce fake news, but I do believe that Lamar has not handled this like a professional. Trade him to the Colts or the Texans. Let's get some value while we can. Okay, so you're speaking from a Ravens perspective, it seems. It seems like you're a Ravens guy. That's cool. What's professional about this? What's unprofessional about this? The fact that he doesn't have an agent? And how is that unprofessional? Is it unprofessional that he's requesting a trade? Is it unprofessional that he's asking for market value? What's unprofessional? Because there's a shift in this league. I don't want to say it's like the NBA because the NBA has clear player empowerment, but it's trending that way. The players are trying to get it into that direction. And if we're going to go down the road of let's get rid of Lamar, understand that what you're going to get is you're in a rebuild. You just signed Nelson Aguilar. The Ravens are not in a position of power here. They don't have the leverage. If Lamar's money is right, and from all reports, it seems as though it is, he has the leverage here. The Ravens don't have a backup plan. Who is available that the Ravens could go get? Huntley? You going to go do that for 17 games? You think Lamar's injury prone? You think Lamar's body is prone to get beat up running around in that system? I mean, thankfully, Greg Roman's not there anymore, but you think Huntley can stand up in that pocket for 17 games more than Lamar? The Ravens are not in a position of power here. Lamar could just stay home. If he's good with his bread, he could stay home. And we can try this again next year. After you get a full year of Huntley, or you might go trade for a backup. I don't know who they might trade for. I don't know who. I don't see the Ravens really being in a position of power here. So I can understand if you want to do the thing of, he's being, because he doesn't have a rep. I don't think that's, a sign of him being unprofessional. The Ravens just did a deal with Roquan Smith, who didn't have a rep. Roquan Smith represented himself. After the Bears refused to give him his market value at his position, he forced his way out, goes to Baltimore, represents himself, and then gets the bag that he wanted. Okay, so, there's a lot of just talk around Lamar and, this is unprofessional. Roquan Smith wanted the Bears to pay him at his market value. The Bears refused. Roquan Smith said, "Get me out of here." And they shipped him to Baltimore. He gets to Baltimore, plays well, with no representation, goes in there and negotiates a contract that pays him what the Bears refused to do. Was that unprofessional? Was Roquan Smith unprofessional for seeking market value for his position, and the team that drafted him saying no, And him saying, okay, then pay me or trade me. They traded him. And then the next team paid him the money his old team would never give him. And he represented himself. Was that unprofessional? Boogie down in the comments. A lot of Raven fans that are I won't yes, boogie down, but there's also been some non-white fans that have had that same opinion. So I don't think this is that's the trickery thing with sports, is that sometimes we could fall into the thing of making it a race thing, but you would be surprised that people of color, and not just saying black, just people of color that have been spitting a lot of the same stuff that you would hear from a pro management. A lot of people are just pro management. A lot of sports fans are pro management. I don't think that's a race thing per se. Can race play a part? For sure at times. There's no way I would say that it doesn't. But I think from what I've noticed in the videos I've been doing here, the live streams, and just the back and forth of having people in the comments, it does not tend to go by race. I have had people darker than me telling me that Lamar shouldn't get that money. So, it's been interesting. It's been a very eye-opening thing, to say the least. And that's why for me, I lean more towards fandom. I think fandom, people tend to lean towards management and ownership because they support the team, not necessarily the players. They support the bosses, not necessarily the employees. So it's a weird dichotomy, because most people, let's keep it a buck, most people are not bosses in their own lives. Most people are employees. So the fact that we have fans who look at things from a perch, looking down on players' perspective, rather than a perspective they should be familiar with in terms of, being a employee and dealing with their higher ups. That's always been the biggest trick to me, is like, owners have convinced fans to listen to them more than players, even though the majority of fans are like players and not owners. Back to the comments. Joshua's back. What's up, Josh? Let's see. The Ravens do not pay to win. They are afraid to fire people, and they do not listen to players. Fans and I think that Lamar just gave up. I think the Ravens will be rebuilding. It's certainly pointing at, they're certainly rebuilding if Lamar's gone. I think there's a small window if they can rebuild whatever relationship they can with Lamar. And to rebuild that, it's just going to be a purely monetary relationship. I think that's the only way to rebuild this, is if you just give that man his money. But they have fired some people. They fired the training staff dude. And I don't think that's a coincidence. If you have, Matthew Judon, and you've got other former players that have left and have openly talked trash about the training staff, and the fact that injuries have been prolonged and have been worsened under the care of the Baltimore Ravens staff, when that's been a thing, and then the current players give it a F-, what grade do you think Lamar gave him? Lamar, who had to miss 10 games the last 2 seasons, what grade do you think Lamar gave that training staff? That training staff that he was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm not even going to pull up for the playoff game. I'm just going to stay home because I don't like my body under the care of these guys. And the head guy has been fired this past offseason. So there's little things that people are not really paying attention to. They're just looking at the overall point, because on the 4-letter network, that stuff doesn't get talked about because that's not a headline. You know what I'm saying? That's not a sexy talking point. That's not a hot take. That's all those shows care about. That's why what I try to do here is flush out everything. If we're going to choose a side and pick a side, let's at least have all the information before we pick a side. Then if you still want to be pro-management, cool. Hey, people are different. But if you don't have all the information, I don't know why someone could be so strident without all the information. I'm the type where I need to know the information. You give me all the information, then I can take it in my own brain and process it and then come up with my own opinion. But if I'm only getting one point of view, if I'm only getting one source of information, or if I'm only getting one set of narratives when there's clear information to the contrary to those narratives, then that to me is hella problematic. Boogie down. Majority of Raven fans do not think for themselves and are gatekeeper fans. They're calling Lamar unprofessional. But explain. I asked what's unprofessional. I asked, And to be fair, Joshua is also responding. So we'll give him his chance to get. And that's the thing. I want everyone to get they point across. I'm not here to try to, as long as we keep it, respectful and not try to make it something that it doesn't have to be. I'm all here for everyone to get their point across. I'm not really here trying to censor nobody. So, as long as you're not saying nothing insane or crazy, like we all here. We all here to communicate and to have a good conversation. The owner had to twist Harbaugh's arm when they hired Kubiak. I would not say that he did it on his own. That's true. So, yep, that's true. I think there's a lot there, though, in terms of the whole Roman thing. And with the Ravens, here's the problem with I can't tell you what this offense is going to look like. Because the offense is built so much around what Lamar could do, and that's why the backups have been who they have been over the last couple of years, because who else are you going to get to be the backup? You can't put Teddy B in this offense. He may look like he could be in this offense, but he can't be in this offense. Like that's the thing. Like this team is built around Lamar. If you're not going to pay Lamar, then you need to rebuild, because this team is built around Lamar. It's a special skill set. Even though quarterbacks are trending to be more like Lamar than Drew Bledsoe, like, you can't find that type of Lamar everywhere. Like, you're not going to find Lamars everywhere. You can find guys who can play the role, look the part, like Huntley. Huntley looks the part. He can do a decent facsimile, but he ain't Lamar. So I think that's where, they've built so much of their identity around just having this dynamic dual threat, quarterback that is a weapon every single down. How do you just move on from that? And that's why, to me, Lamar has the leverage. The Ravens will be down bad next year if Lamar's not playing quarterback there. They'll be down bad. Joshua back again. I would have liked seeing Lamar continue to talk during the season last year, and this offseason he was on vacation while everyone was like, what is going on? And still he would not hire an agent. I mean, well, he hasn't had representation at all, right? I don't think Lamar has ever had representation. That was the whole thing a few weeks ago where, the Blue Check Boys tried to say, him not having an agent cost him a sneaker deal, and that was false. He didn't have representation even then when he was at Louisville, because that was a sneaker deal. Lamar had a Yeezy deal on the table, and they wanted him to wear the Yeezy cleats, but Lamar wanted the entire team to be able to wear Yeezy cleats and not just him, and Yeezy folded on that deal and they backed out of it. So that was the deal that allegedly cost him millions, that the Blue Check Boys were running around using that as, a sign of why Lamar needed an agent. So, it just goes you to show, like, it just goes to show that I don't feel as though what we're seeing in terms of Lamar having an agent or not having an agent, I don't think that matters here. I know that's people are definitely on both sides of that. Like, there's definitely people that are pro having an agent. And to me, especially, there's not a lot of nuance to this deal. There's a clear line, there's a clear framework that was established. Why do you need an agent to go in there and say, hey, you know what Deshaun Watson got? We would like that plus a couple mil on top. Do you really need an agent to go do that? Because if that's the case, then we would need agents for our jobs. You would need an agent for your job. If the whole point is you need representation, then we all need representation. We should all have a lawyer or some sort of rep. When we go into our offices and ask for raises, we should have a lawyer there. See how your supervisor would take that. It's no problem for us as employees to just not have, a rep and go in here and get turned down for raises or ask for more money and get turned down or get, cost of living increase, which is not even negligible towards the rate of inflation. All of that is fine. But Lamar wanting to go in and do his own negotiation, oh my God, what's wrong with him? Like that, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how we're looking at that. And in terms of last year, he tried to get the money right last year. They don't want to pay him. They've had multiple off seasons where they could have extended Lamar. The Bills didn't wait with Josh Allen. They paid him his money. The Chiefs didn't wait with Patrick Mahomes. They paid him his money. So the Ravens took as much risk in this as Lamar did. Lamar had a number. The Ravens did not meet that number. So therefore, the Ravens just kept rolling the dice and just this year by year. All right, we're on the clock with him. We're not going to extend him. We want to extend him at our number. Okay, if you're drawing that line in the sand, and we had the clip last week of Ozzie Newsome saying that the Deshaun Watson contract, really got in the owner's head. So they had ample chances prior to last season to extend and re-up Lamar Jackson. They just chose not to. They had their number. They dug their heels in and said no to Lamar. And Lamar is now saying no to them. That's business, right? You deem someone to undervalue you at your worth. No one's telling you to take that job. No one's telling you to stay at that job. If you feel you're underpaid, you're going to look for another job. Only in sports is it just shut up and, do your contract. Even though people leave jobs all the time. People be working jobs, then all of a sudden they get a better offer. They put in that 2 weeks notice real quick. Or sometimes they don't even put in that 2 week notice. They just stop showing up. But in sports, you sign the contract, fulfill that contract. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Back to Joshua. It doesn't, and the thing that stinks is that it does not seem like either side handled it well. I mean, if both sides have a number and those numbers are far apart, is it really not handling it well? Or is it just being, definitive in what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do? If Lamar is saying, this is my number, is non-negotiable, and the Ravens counter and say, this is our number, this is non-negotiable, then what else is there to discuss? What else is there? Joshua, according to Andy Reid, it takes 1.5 years to determine whether you have your QB. By the second year he played, he should have been having the contract talks. Yeah, and that second year would have been after the MVP year. But the Ravens decided not to do it. So that's the thing. Like that's why to me it's like I understand people want to throw shade at Lamar. I may not co-sign, but I understand the perspective of throwing shade at Lamar. My whole thing is this: why are we acting like the Ravens are not complicit in this? The Ravens had a chance to sign him. They had a chance to extend him. They decided that the number they had is a lot lower than Lamar's, and they're not willing to budge. There's allegedly the 3 for 133 number that Lamar referenced. There's been other numbers of 180 or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I'm not even sitting here saying, that definitively I know Lamar wants guaranteed money. I don't know that. None of us know that. See, that's the thing. All of this is speculation. If Lamar doesn't want fully guaranteed money and just wants more guaranteed money than anybody else that's not Deshaun Watson, that's still a conversation. Because who is it now? I think it's Kyler Murray got the most, 189 and a half. 189 and a half million, I think Kyler Murray got. So if the Ravens are going to go ahead and give him 190 to 200, I'm sure he'll think about it. But when you have potentially the NFLPA and you realize that Herbert's coming, Burrow is coming, Jalen Hurts is coming right behind you, pause, with their deals, I'm trying to get, because who says Lamar's going to get another contract after this? If he signs a 4 or 5 year deal, if he's as injury prone as y'all claim he is, who says he even makes it to the next contract? So shouldn't he try to get every penny he can now? If he's as injury prone as y'all keep saying he is, shouldn't he be trying to cash out right now? I mean, that's what I would think. Cash out right now. Look at this money, dog. Look at this money. Daniel Jones, $46 million. Patrick Mahomes. This right here tells you everything. If you're Lamar Jackson, now again, don't get fooled by this, because this is just the that's a franchise tag. So this 32, that's just a franchise tag, right? Look at these names: Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones above Patrick Mahomes. And you want Lamar to take less money. Look who's sandwiched between Kyler Murray. And this is the curse of signing too soon. Now, I'm sure Mahomes is fine. Mahomes is fine financially. His dad was an MLB player, used to play for the Mets back in the day. Shout out to Southside Jamaica, Queens, where I'm from. But so he's fine. But when you sign too soon, Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones are in your tax bracket. And if we're looking at this list, how the hell is Patrick Mahomes behind Daniel Jones? And that's why if you're Lamar, you try to get every penny you can. Because at some point, he's going to have Justin Herbert, Burrow, and Hurts, and maybe even Trevor Lawrence over him. And he's going to fill away. But for right now, if he can get the money he wants right now, he'll feel okay in 3 to 4 years when everyone else leapfrogs him. Because how do you think Mahomes feels looking at Daniel Jones over him? Y'all saw, I told you what happened with Dak. Dak saw Daniel Jones get this money. He went right to Jerry and Stephen Jones and said, yeah, we need to restructure this. We need to restructure this right now. Boogie down. This team isn't built around Lamar. This team was specifically assembled to run Greg Roman's scheme, and Greg Roman was already the staff before Lamar was drafted. Right, but isn't the whole thing of what he did with Kaepernick, he was trying to replicate with Lamar, no? Like, I think Ozzie, and that wasn't that the last draft Ozzie Newsome was the head of? Didn't they say that played a part in it? I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, school me. I'm definitely not here trying to be a know-it-all. So if I'm wrong, put me on game. Josh, I agree with you. There is a part of the reason why it's like get the best value for your yeah. I mean that's the only thing I'm saying is that's why for me I could never. I understand fans having a perspective of management, but to me, I'm just like, yo, man, this guy, if he's as injury prone as y'all say, he don't got too much more left. So if I could get 250 of them things on the way out, then I'm gonna fight like hell to try to get that 250. I'm gonna fight like hell to get that 250. And then look at this thing, though. Like, he's got 10 years. Mahomes got that 10-year at the most important, but like the Chiefs got such a deal. And look at this, look at these numbers now. So here in total cash, let me move this out the way. There we go. In total cash, he's fourth. Can y'all even see that? That's why I'm going to have to figure this out. Yeah. In total cash, he's fourth, right? Total cash. We come down here to actual money, contract value. He's at the top because of this bloated 450 number. But we know that 450 is really 140. And that's the problem in the NFL. They keep selling us on this. When their players are like, no. We want this. This is the number that matters. This total. Not the value, the total. It's sad, dog. Yeah, total guarantees. Here we go. Deshaun Watson got the 230. Kyler Murray got the 189. Russell Wilson got the 160. Aaron Rodgers with the extension got 150. And Josh Allen got 150. So imagine, these are the total guarantees, and Patrick Mahomes is not on this list. His 141 got trumped by everybody. And that's what I'm saying. When Mahomes signed that deal, it was the richest deal at that time. Guess what happened? Everyone leapfrogged him. That's how market value works. Once the bar's been set, the next ones, no matter whether they're as nice as you or not, they're going to get more than you. Josh Allen, $150. Aaron Rodgers on an extension, $150. But he made sure to get more than Josh Allen. He made sure he got 815 more thousand than Josh Allen. And Russell Wilson wanted to make sure he got more than both of them. And then Kyler Murray was able to get more than all of them until Deshaun. Crazy. So, y'all let me know. About to wrap it up here. About to touch hour 3. That's crazy. We will definitively end this in the next 8 minutes. So 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll go to 7. So got me for another 7 minutes. Then we can wrap it up. But I'll be here for all the Lamar stuff. Y'all know. So thankfully, we're building this audience, and I've been able to build up the subscribers and all that stuff. So thanks to those who have pulled up and subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, whether you're watching this live on a replay, tap in, man, because I'm all over this stuff. I'm all over these stories that are not just, does this make the Ravens good or bad? Like, Like that type of stuff is elementary stuff. Like I want to get into the layers of it. All these stories are layered to me. There's money involved, there's pride involved, there's business involved, there's leverage, there's all that type of stuff is what I want to talk about. Like we can all sit here and just say, hey, who do you think is going to be good next year? Like that's like I know the whole thing of barbershop talk, like I'm kind of anti that. Like I like real conversations with people that know what they're talking about. And that's what I want to bring here on this channel. And that's what I'm going to give y'all. It's those types of conversations, those types of, debates, not just, who's top 5, who's on the Mount Rushmore, like all of that shit like that. There's plenty of other places you can go get that. So if you like that type of content of having real conversations, having real, we're going back and forth in the comments. We've had 62 comments on this stream. 62 comments, people going back and forth, people even chatting without me even jumping in. Y'all lucky Tanya didn't show up. Tanya, who's a big Ravens fan, y'all lucky she ain't pull up. I swore Tanya was gonna pull up today. But anyway, let me know if y'all got anything. I'll check some tweets real quick to make sure nothing's popped off on this stream. And that's also a thing. Like if you see some breaking news on the apps, on the timeline, definitely let me know and we can pull it up and discuss right here. That's definitely happened. When the Bears made the trade for the number 1 pick, that happened here on the stream. There's more stuff about Aaron Rodgers. Packers won't necessarily get a first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that's that important. Let's see. Well, if y'all don't got anything, then I'll slide up out of here, and we'll be back at this tomorrow. Brandon Staley on possible Justin Herbert extension. I'll show y'all this real quick. Brandon Staley on possible Justin Herbert extension. Those talks are ongoing. I am telling you, it is a race. It is a race to try to get your quarterback signed before Lamar finds a sucker. I think that is one of the prevailing points from today. Him requesting a trade and potentially teams lining up to see what's up with him is the bat signal for the Chargers, the Eagles, and I'm surprised we haven't heard anything from the Bengals, but that owner is so cheap, he might be dumb enough to not even want to pay Joe Burrow. And I guess we'll end on this one. For a team that is on the verge of being sold by an owner that has been allegedly problematic as all hell, and that's about the nicest way I could say it, the Washington Commanders are reiterating that they will not pursue Lamar Jackson. We'll just go over this real quick. Despite the rumors, the Commanders never had interest in pursuing Lamar Jackson and won't pursue Lamar Jackson. I'm not sure where it all comes from. GM Martin Mayhew said Monday, from the very beginning, we've been very consistent with our message, and it continues to come up. It's coming from somewhere. It's not coming from us. And here's where, if you're a Commanders fan, and I still think Washington football team is better than Commanders, but it is what it is. This right here is where you have to feel sick if you're a fan. Mayhew praised Jackson, but made clear the Commanders are rolling with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. They'd rather have Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett than Lamar Jackson. I just don't. Sometimes teams. Eric Bieniemy left Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to be saddled with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. I'll look this up real quick before we get off of here. But do they even have a high pick? They got the 16th pick, dog. They got the 16th pick. Do they have multiples? Nope. Man, Eric Bieniemy really had to walk away from Patrick Mahomes to go prove he could play calls. He could call plays for Sam Howell. It's poverty shit, man. That's real poverty shit. I feel for him. But anyway, I appreciate all those who have pulled up. If you haven't hit that like button, do your boy a favor. Tap that like on the way out. Damn, man, 3 hours out here. This has been amazing. This is the type of content I'm going to keep bringing y'all. As long as y'all are here, I knew I was going to be here for at least an hour, but y'all be able to hang on with me for a whole ass 3 hours on a Lamar Jackson-a-thon. So I appreciate that. Imagine when something actually happens. Imagine when he gets traded or he re-ups or, if he gets that guaranteed bag, I don't know what type of stream that's going to be. That's going to be a marathon stream that night. If he gets 250 guaranteed, if Jim Irsay coughs it up, I'm going to have guests on. I'm going to have all types of people pull up. I guarantee you that. But thank you for those who are still here. Hit that like on the way out if you haven't. Subscribe if you like the content. And I'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have more updates. Maybe it'll be an Aaron Rodgers-a-thon tomorrow. So for the Sam D, this has been Timeline T. Catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.